Hello, everybody. So this is me, Ville, and Niklas. We're two Gothenburg Infinity players who like to analyze and do like statistics and stuff for Infinity. And we're trying to do some videos now, mostly to help our small community here understand the new factions after the N5 drop. So let's get into it. We start with attack pieces.
Yeah.
You can say hello, Niklas.
Hello, hello. So, and we decided to start with O-12 since it's one of my main factions. That way, at least one of us has an inkling of what the unit actually does and has played with or against them.
Yeah, and I've been hit in the head with them,
Yeah.
so
Blue is amazing. That's all I have to say. That's
my bears are now sad.
yeah. But yeah, the idea is to go through attack pieces first, and then we look at some defensive pieces and how you can utilize them. Continue with specialist hacking, especially as a subsection to specialist, and then look at the possible lieutenants, and then at the end, like the gimmick for this faction. And spoiler, but the glue is definitely a gimmick of this faction.
Yeah, very much.
But there
And
is
it got much better in this edition.
oh yeah, and we have another treat, so it's a good times for
Yeah.
O12.
So we can start about our basic definition about attack pieces. It's something that does damage to the enemy team in as few orders as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, either like efficiently with a lot of burst, or if you have a lot of vis mods, or CC models that can get into close combat easily, or whatever it could be. But something
Yeah.
that your opponent will be scared of when they see you put it on the table, because they're afraid you're gonna punch them in the face with it, basically.
Yeah. If your butt puckers up when you see it on the table, it's usually an attack piece.
Yes, the butt clench metric. That's
Yeah.
always a good one.
It's how we will sort them.
S tier butt clench. Yes, here we go.
That is
Yeah,
completely clear.
but with that being said, because if we look at them, the Alpha, Blue Coat, Cyber Ghost, Ensign Shaw, the Kappa, all of them are. I mean, none of them are like prime attack pieces in any way, regardless of if you can link them or whatnot.
Yeah. And then we get to the Lawkeeper. It can obviously be used as an attack piece, as it has great speed. It's an 8/6 mover,
Yep.
and it has mimetism -3, but it has limited cover, so it's basically is back to being able to claim cover, odds wise.
I mean,
It doesn't have
it's
a
the like with most of the bikes where you have the limited coverage, you at least get the armor bonus,
yeah.
and then you have the mimetism on the bike in as a basic. But yeah, it's a bike, and it's an O12 bike, so it's a specialist operative by default.
Yeah, and that's pretty sweet to have on it
Yeah.
when it isn't a mission problem to have it,
Yeah.
like in a kill mission where you get points for killing more specialists.
Yeah, we never play those.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen you put the Lawkeeper on the table.
Oh, I used it when I started playing,
Yeah.
because you were so into bikes. So you
Yeah,
basically
I love the
persuaded me, and then I just can't handle bikes, or at least not in the point range they're at. For me,
Yeah.
like since bikers are so difficult to hide, if I
Yeah.
don't get the first turn and use them as a missile, they usually die. So and since the Lockkeeper is a one wound model that is price range from 18 to 33 points, which is like really expensive to me for a bike.
Yeah.
I mean, especially when we're gonna get down to like the road bot later on, which is just a better piece than the Lockkeeper. So yeah, this to me is like
Yeah, I think that when you started to play, the Roadbot hadn't come out yet,
Yep.
so this was like pre-Roadbot meta. You could play this,
yeah,
and it's like it's okay. It has the option of having side bots, and it's always good to have cheap peripherals that you can throw into mines and stuff. That's cool. I wouldn't fault anyone for playing it, but it's not an A+ model.
no, I'd probably put it as a C tier. Like if you want to play
Yeah.
it, but then you probably will. You have to be aware that unless you play it well, it might just fizzle and die.
Yeah, yeah, I would put it maybe B tier. Like you can play it, but it's not super. It's just okay.
Okay, for you, I'll put it in B
Uh,
tier. Mm.
uh, C tier is like if you play that, that seems a little nutty to me. That's where I put C tier.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Yeah, discussing the difference is also always interesting. To
yeah,
me, C tier is like B tier is like these usually make lists, and C tier is like they rarely see lists, but I would be
mm.
fine with it. D list is like, what are you doing? That is
Yeah,
my
yeah. Works too.
yeah.
Works too. Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
but enough about the
yeah.
lawkeeper. On to the next.
We talked about before this about the links. Since it's a min-6 model that deploys in your deployment zone, it has a lot of more like defensive posture, especially if you take the multi-sniper rifle profile, for example.
Yeah,
And I've tried using it in like different ways, but I always end up with just taking the sniper anyway. So
yeah.
for me, this is not an attack piece at all.
Yeah, and I'm like I could push the marksman rifle like it's an once again it's an okay attack piece. It has -6. Some factions really have a hard time handling that. And the shock marksman rifle has that good range band of 8 to 24. That's pretty sweet to take fights in, and it's burst 3. So it's okay once again, but like you say, feels more to me like defensive tech than aggressive tech. Uh, so I will put it around there. The C tier for aggressive pieces then.
Yeah. Mental Skip is definitely not an attack beast. Same with Monstrucker.
Yeah,
Parvati can be debated, but I wouldn't see her as an attack piece, even though she has a burst 4 SMG.
yeah. We could maybe put her in some gimmick stuff because she could do some real weird stuff with her
Yeah.
now 6/6 movement as she has super jump.
Oh yeah, I mean she's fast as hell, but
Yeah, and it's cool to have burst 4, but it's that 8-inch good band is
yeah,
it's a little bit dangerous.
it's a bit problematic.
But yeah, she's a great um, it's a great multi-class, you could say,
Yeah.
because she can really do objectives and she can really help your team. She's both a doctor and an engineer, and she's engineering on 18s for some reason, and she's doctor 2 wounds, so
Yeah.
very good
Sh-
and hard to kill as she has 2 structure and remote presence. So
yeah, but I've tried so many times to put her in lists, and
yeah,
uh,
yeah, but it's 36
yeah,
points.
yeah,
It's a
she's
lot of
insanely costed. But I mean, she's
yeah,
costed based on her abilities, and she's really strong.
yeah,
But it's like it's so hard to build something around her.
yeah. I'd really like her in like highly classified and stuff because
Oh
she's
yeah,
also a character, so she counts as veteran. And oh yeah,
doctor, engineer, veteran. Yeah,
yeah,
she does
she can.
everything, and with super jump.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They should give her hacking too, so
Yes, yes, please.
she solves everything. But yeah, I'd put her in gimmicky stuff. I think like you could
Yeah, well,
fit her in a list, but then that's your goal is to do some funky shit with her. I think.
yeah. So we'll come back to her later. But
Yeah, yeah,
then we have this Psycop.
yeah.
And
You've used that against me a few times, right?
oh yeah, I mean, the thing is, they're a bit how to put it. When it comes to vanilla O-12, they usually couldn't link, and that's what was made them good in Starmada, for example, because you could link them and get the plus burst, and all of a sudden you have a burst 4 weapon.
Yeah.
But now you actually can link them and make a duo of 2 Psychops in vanilla O-12, which I find really interesting, because all of a sudden you can have like, I mean, though they're pricey, you can have MSV1 with mimetism -3 and X-Visor on a multi-marksman rifle, so they have pretty good range bands, good burst, good BS, and vis mods in both directions, and also with X-Visor and MSV1.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. It sounds like it could be pretty stable, but it's a 1 wound attack piece, so there's always something to keep in mind that
Yep.
it'll go down to a crit or something,
Yep.
And then you've lost that amount of points.
Yeah, the only thing they really have got going for them is the new profile where they have the armed turret with a thunderbolt, which is
Yeah,
so
yeah. I
cool.
just saw that and I was like, that. Now we're gonna have to put them in defensive too.
Yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. They're all over the place. But I mean, if you have them as a push piece, so you
Yeah.
want to go forward, you would probably go with like the turret and also a hacker or a killer
Yeah.
hacker, because that way you can do both the like handle hacking and also put turrets whenever you need them. And that way you can maneuver. And the killer hackers also has disco baller, so you also
Yeah. Oh,
so
it's got. Yeah. It's the O-12 effect. A lot of people that haven't played O-12, they look into it and they're like, oh, they're so expensive for what they do, and you're like, yes, but they got so much toolboxness in them. Like
yes,
everyone's a specialist for free,
yep,
and they got
for
weird
free.
tech here and there.
You just said
Yeah.
they're pricey.
Yeah, but that's because they have like he brings an armed turret and he has this and he has
Yeah.
that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's and he has X Visor and he has combat instinct for some reasons. Like this guy
You know,
is
just
filled with weird stuff.
just in case.
Yeah, yeah,
And also templates, because Nana pulls up 2+1 burst, so they have burst 2 templates. So.
yeah, yeah, it's stable, and he has heavy pistol instead of a usual pistol for some reason. So yeah,
No.
but that's the O-12 thing. Like it must be so draining to play O-12 well, because you have to like, yeah, my guy can do this and this and this and this and this. Like for all my whining about Ariadna, it's simple to play. Each tool does one thing, hopefully well.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember when I started with O-12, I learned like the basic rules of each unit, played them, and then I went back and looked. Oh, I had 2 wounds on this character because I had no wounding cap. Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah.
And the next game, all of a sudden, all my characters like leveled without even having to change my list. Because all of a sudden, like, oh, these have templates. Oh, these have multiple wounds. Oh, these have both the Spectre Visor, or whatever it could be. So yeah, it's so many rules on them.
Yeah. So where would you place the Psychop? Is it the B?
I'll place them in B above Lawkeeper. Even though they're kind of pricey, I feel like as an attack piece, they can do it in so many variations and handle a lot of pieces that are a bit difficult as well for O-12. With the with the MSV and which is kind of rare in O-12, makes them fairly good. But in vanilla O-12, I'd say it's hard for them to get over B.
That sounds good. I just noticed their BS13 too. It's just nice to have over 12 in BS.
I'm sorry, but my line troopers have 12 and everything else has 13 or above. So it's
that's because you're Pano in disguise.
Share the colors.
You're Pano with the French mustache.
Moving on, we have the Raven Eye, which is also like a line troopers. We skipped them. Lambda is a specialist. Team Sirius. I wouldn't put them as an offensive either. They're more of a support. Well, I think we'll talk to them about them when we got to the hacker. But they have a forward deployment Red Fury profile. But
and they have mimetism -3, so you could, but it's probably you should.
No, it's no marker state and a 28-point model with 1 wound in 1 beta. Then we have the Vidok, and that ends up in like a similar as the Lynx.
But even more, because your best gun is burst 2, right?
Yeah, there's shotguns or snipers. So yeah, it's a defensive piece. Warcore Escape Crushers. Then we get to the Droppers. Because Crushers either are forward deployment or they have combat jump and super jump jet propulsion. And these are mimetism -3 and no wounding cap, so they have 2 wounds.
We can just mention it right now. 1 or more two wounds or 1 wound and no wounding cap is very strong right now with the speedball meta, where you can call down a Vita Pack, which essentially gives you an additional wound if you're not outright killed. And it's just nice to stack wounds that way, so you can get in and be real messy.
Yeah, but even more so since the burst of defensive units now, unless they have total reaction, is basically like a maximum of 1 hit. So unless they do a crit or they have special ammunition, they will only do 1 wound on you. That means that regardless of what happens, you can just take a template to the face and just like, okay, I hope I
Yeah,
make my armor save. Otherwise, I still have my wound, and I can continue and doing whatever I was supposed to do.
yeah, and that's it's just very stable right now.
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, so I think Crushers, especially the combat jump one, because they got reduced in points. So they're only at 27, which to me is very, very good for what they're doing.
yeah, they have a very loaded kit. Like you have combat jump, you have super jump, jet propulsion, and parachutist.
Yep.
Those are give you a lot of options in how to approach problems.
Oh, for sure.
Boarding shotgun's a stable gun right now. Panzerfaust just for funsies.
Yep.
D-charges so you can do missions. They're forward observers, so they can do
Yep.
missions.
And they're medium
Uh,
infantry and veteran troops, so there's a lot of
they do a lot
classifieds.
of yeah.
Yeah.
And you have a boarding
Pistol, so they
pistol,
have
which means you have a
templates.
template, and you have an EMCC. Even though you have 17 in CC,
Yep.
that's pretty cool running into a tag
Yep.
and punching them. That's scary odds
Oh, yeah.
against a tag. 50-50 that you get smacked with an EMCC, and tags do not like that.
No. Though, yeah, very rarely I would ever put these up against a tag, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
But
sure,
it's
if they get there, for sure.
yeah, having the options is never bad.
No. But as you mentioned, because if we look at them from the change where like a lot of templates were removed, Crushers actually benefit from that quite a lot. Since
Yeah.
they have the 2 wounds as a paratrooper, and then they get the boarding shotgun with a BS of 13, so they hit on 19s if they're in within 8, which is kind of easy with super jump and combat jump. And then mimetism -3 on top of that. So they are really, really dangerous when they get in there. Sure, it's only burst 2, but burst 2 on 19s or 16s if they're in cover it's good.
Yeah, and you have combat jump and parachutist, and then the combo with super jump means you can get a lot of people out of cover,
Yep.
and then hitting people on 19s is very strong.
Yeah. And you can still fork people since you have the boarding pistol,
Yeah.
since that's a template. So you can go like, oh, what do you want to do? I'm going to shoot you. Okay, I'm going to template you, and then you're happy with it. Like the good old days.
Yeah, it's yeah.
Uh,
It survived the shotgun changes
Yep.
pretty well.
To me, this
So,
is
yeah.
a A-tier piece.
Yeah, I'd say it's A.
I'm not that sure about the forward deployment ones.
No, they all feel they're also more expensive for something I think is much worse.
Yeah, I know. So yeah, so don't
No.
look at those.
So
It's
there's
a
one
crap.
profile. It's combat jump, super jump, parachutist. The other ones, there's probably some hidden tech in there, but I can't see it right now.
Yep.
Maybe if they had the better ranged weapons, like these guys could probably want some marksmanship rifles or something.
Oh yeah, the multi-rifle is at least kind of fine. But
Yeah, but it's 16.
anyhow,
Yep.
moving on. Cuervo Gold
To
Seal.
one of your favorites.
Oh, sorry, I'm putting this in S. It's so good.
Oh, he got real good.
Oh, he's insane.
And he has martial arts level 4
Yes.
too, so you can get two
Monofilament.
monofilament hits.
It's so
Oh boy,
good.
oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
And I mean at CC23, so hits on 26s. Nice.
Yeah.
It's just
he's
insane. And as we mentioned before, with the combat jumping and then the super jump jet propulsion, so you can't hide from him. It's impossible.
and he has stealth, so you're not allowed to react when he sneaks up to you. And
Yeah, you know
Yeah,
those
he's-
stealthy jet propulsion. That's the
yeah, and we didn't mention it on the crushers, but both of these have immunity shock, which matters a lot when you're no wounding cap.
Yep.
And to use the speedball, because you don't want to take a random mine and just die.
Yep.
And these guys don't.
No.
No, I'd put him in S.
Yeah.
He's expensive, but he gets stuff done.
Yeah, but for 33 points, he's going to trade up. And he's going to do it like we mentioned before about attack pieces, do it in few orders. He's going to be one order drop in a location. And either he parachutes in, or you try to drop him. And then you will probably spend an order for the Evo hacker. So then you have it on 16s, which is fairly good.
Yeah, yeah,
But even if you do it, it's like 3 or 4 orders, and you could probably kill any piece on the table.
yeah,
Which means that if your opponent throws down a tag and you don't want that tag on the table, then you just kill it.
yeah.
It's like, it's like
It's
you
it's good.
can't
It's
stop
good.
it. No.
And the good thing to say for our beginner players or player that hasn't played that much is with the new super jump changes, you jump 6 inches. So he may say move 4-4, but super jump makes him jump 6-6. So he has a movement of 12 if no one's observing him.
Yep.
So he can get places
Yep.
fast.
And over buildings and everything. So
Yeah, 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 yeah. And he has jet propulsion, so we can do jinxy weird stuff.
yep. No,
Yeah, yeah, he's solid. On
his
to the
go-to.
next.
Yeah, then we have the Delta unit. And
Mm,
this one I'm actually gonna skip for now because this for me is more of a specialist. If we look at him,
mm,
all of these are combo jump parachutists. They have 2 that are not specialists. The rest are a hacker, doctor, forward observer, and hacker. So either with killer
yeah,
hacking or not.
it's the Spitfire thing, but he has no mods, and his BS12. No, I wouldn't use him as an attack
No,
piece.
that's then you go with Cuervo or the Crusher instead. So.
Yeah,
Then we have the Epsilon, and this bad boy. You mentioned this the speedball a lot.
yeah,
This is a 1 wound model. The problem with it was a 1 wound model, but this has immunity shock even though it has no wound. It
yeah,
doesn't have no wound cap. So this doesn't go down through shock ammo, and now it can have 2 wounds, which makes this insanely good. So even
yeah,
with like Crusher and Cuervo, which benefited from sure, they could take 1 wound and still be alive and go around kicking, while the
yeah,
Epsilon couldn't.
yeah,
But even if you ignore that, this is the only MSV2 model in O-12.
yeah,
So if you want to be able to shoot through smoke without any vis mods or manage all the mimetism, put this in the list.
yeah. It's very good because he's reasonably priced. Like he has mimetism -6, he has MSV2, and he has a good gun for 34 points.
Yep.
It's reasonable. Now he can be even stronger with the speedball, so he risks less, and it's and you have access to smoke, so you can throw a smoke template in front of him, so your enemy doesn't see him, and then you move him into that and use your MSV2 to shoot through the smoke, and the enemy gets -9 if they don't have MSV or combat or sixth sense. So it's a
Yep.
it's
It,
like a smoke trick.
yeah, it's
So
very
he's
very
strong.
easy to get to a -12. If you have cover, mimetism -3, and -6 from smoke, then you have a
Yeah,
-12.
yeah,
So yeah, it's a very good piece. Just hope that the opponent don't crit.
yeah, yeah.
Silly.
That always happens.
Yeah.
But if they crit, it's usually a Panzerfaust anyways.
No, it's another mound twice. Fucking hell. Uh,
Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, I put him in A tier because I think this
Yeah,
is a solid piece. The only
yeah,
thing, like, if you play with him, be aware that you probably will need a speedball to boost him. And also, if you go for the heavy machine gun, this is not an ARO piece. Even though it might look like
no,
it, because, like, oh, it's a good gun and MSC2, and I can make sure they don't. Because if someone takes a good fight with him, he dies straight off.
yeah. And I checked. I can't see him in any fire team lists. So he's definitely not an ARO piece.
No,
'Cause
no,
not even
it,
not even with a multi rifle, multi sniper, right?
no, in Starmada you can have him.
Yeah,
So
but that's
that's
another
separate
discussion.
story, but that's where he
Yeah,
truly
but
shines.
A sounds good.
Yep. Then we have the jack boots.
Jack boots, yeah, they got the immunity enhanced
Yes.
because these guys, when they came out in N4, I was like, when would you ever play these guys? Because weren't they? They were really bad, right?
Yes.
They cost about the same, but didn't have immunity total, right?
I mean, they're on the scope where I looked at them and they were so bad, so I don't even remember them. So
That's what I remember too. But they got some glow ups.
yeah, but did they really? I mean, it's still like you paying above 20 points for each of them. Uh,
Yeah,
And you get the immunity enhanced, which is nice, but it's still on a 1 wound model, which means that sure, you can take a hit, but then it's an armor 3. I feel the immunity enhanced, they pay for it more than it gives them. But
they're
I think it depends a bit
throwing
on
up a heavy rocket launcher. Maybe the duo it could be cool.
Because I heard other people.
I mostly look at the. I got a bit sidetracked by the armed turret Thunderbolt with AP this time.
It's that one I want to play, but only for the turrets. But then it's like 28 points for a turret. That's expensive. But it is an AP Thunderbolt, so. No, but I think they're interesting, especially the Thunderbolt with BSRAC +1 burst, because this has an EM carbine +1 burst as well, and both of them at burst 3 are dangerous weapons.
Yeah, it's nice.
So if you
the EM carbine and the E emitter, they got good.
Yeah, no, because I feel like if you struggle against a lot of heavy infantry list or tags, and then you might want to have a jackboot. Just like some kind of counter when you're in the active turn, and like, okay, I need to shoot this one and try to get it down. Because if you just need to land one hit, then they're probably out. So but I'd say these are also like in a bit of a weird way, but I'd say these are some kind of in B tier.
Yeah. I was about to say maybe these aren't even attack pieces. Maybe they are. They feel a bit more defensive to me.
Yeah,
but
maybe. It's just that they have
put them in B.
Yeah, I'll leave them there.
Low B.
I said the O-12 only had MSV2 on one piece. It's because I hate these ones. we're at the Nimrods.
Yeah.
And the Nimrods, they have MSV2, which is nice. But either you're in your deployment zone with a 29 or 28 point model with AP marksman rifle or Thunderbolt +1 burst. So compare that to the Epsilon, which has a better
an
gun.
HMG.
Yeah. But these one have super jump and stealth, which means that they get to where you need them to go.
Yeah.
So they are good. I just don't like them.
But isn't that also like, because weren't these guys like 4/4 guys before?
No, they. I don't remember their moveset, but they had super jump before as well.
But super jump was based on your movement before.
Oh, sure. I mean, they were different before, but it's basically because since when I looked at them from Torchlight perspective, and then if you did the super jump link, it got crazy expensive.
But I like the AP marksman EM carbine because the EM carbine being thrown in there, I think it's really good.
Yep. And then we have the super weird hidden deployment AP submachine gun. Like what?
Yeah, I wouldn't play that.
It's so weird.
Yeah. I got really excited because I thought it was an AP marksmanship also, and then I looked. No, it's AP submachine gun. No. But the AP marksmanship rifle EM carbine, I think that has legs.
Yeah.
I think you can play that.
I think it's probably going to end up in an A tier position. Especially because it's half a SWIC. It's half a SWIC for a super jump model with a gun that actually can take stuff.
And it can mess with most things, since it can shoot AP on 1 wounders, or it can shoot EM carbine on bigger things.
Yeah, the only thing that I'm a bit confused is like, you use the AP on big things and you use the EM carbine on big things. It's just like, do you want to kill it or do you want to stop it? So
I see it. It's a marksman rifle that's got AP as a bonus, because you will shoot the EM carbine mostly at guys. Like you use the marksmanship rifle to get closer, and then you use the EM carbine when you're close.
I also think if you're in an ARO position, you will probably use a carbine, because if you land it and they get isolated, and then you don't have to care about them anymore, and then you're safe. So. Moving on to Sonia. I've always pronounced it Lacroix, but I have no idea if that's what her.
Yeah, it's probably that. it makes me think about Malifaux, where the Lacroix were one of the families.
Yeah.
Uh,
But she's the only albedo minus model in O-12, if I recall
oh
correctly.
yeah, this is
So she's in a special role.
it's very very weird, right?
Yes.
Her emitter is her range weapon. Okay.
Note, because I missed this. She has an Imarat if she's the NCO and an
Yeah.
emitter
Yeah.
if she. So if you're dyslexic, this is hell.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
why do you do
Yeah.
this?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
the
And
same
also, I
point,
was
same
like,
swing, same gear,
I,
and just
I was
NCO.
like, of course you want to play the NCU. That's the best version. And then it's like, no, that loses its range gun. And I think your albedo pieces want to have range guns now. So
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
I don't. Is this the only albedo piece in
Yeah, that's the only one.
in? Uh,
So and
if you face a lot of MSV, maybe bring this guy. I
yeah.
don't.
Yeah, she feels more like a tech piece that you might throw in, but she ends up
Yeah.
like if we remember all the things that we looked at now, most of them are at the 30-point price range. Like that's where
Yeah.
all 12 attack pieces are, and which means that you probably end up in the intersection with do I have 2 wounds or not? And
Yeah.
she's in the I don't have 2 wounds, and then and you only have Vismods versus MSV, which means that she's really easy to take down with anything else.
Yeah, and she pays for weird things. Like she has martial arts too, which is meh. And she has her best melee weapon is shock marksman, shock CC weapon,
Yep.
and that's not great. So she has CC, but she doesn't want to use CC because she's tickling people.
Yep. It's just
She's a weird tech piece.
Yeah.
Maybe
I'd put her in a C tier as a attack piece, but she has her purpose for sure.
Yeah.
Then we come to the Gamma. Oh, this one has gotten so good now. So this is the mini tag. So it's a Vita, so it's not an STR, but it has no wound cap with immunity shock, so it's basically 3 wounds.
Yeah.
B select +1 burst. So you can either have a burst 3 Feuerbash or a burst 5 heavy machine gun. And you can...
it has heavy, it has hyper rapid magnetic cannon at home. Okay.
And also, you can link this. You can give this a special die. If you put 2 Vidocs.
Can this be in a Harris?
Yes.
Oh boy.
So you can put this in a Harris, which gives you almost count as a burst 4 Feuerbash, which is so good.
Or a burst 6 heavy machine gun.
Yes.
That with BS14
Yep.
it wins gunfights even though it doesn't have any whiz mods.
And it has Warhorse, which means that if the opponent has the BS attack minus, you just ignore it. So
yeah, and it has Warhorse and it's an HI, so it can't be isolated.
Yeah,
that also matters.
Yeah. And we're gonna get to that later on, but since it's gonna be a lieutenant profile and being a Warhorse as a HI with a lieutenant is it's good.
It's good. Yeah, I like it.
But this one is I haven't gotten to try the Harris yet, but most of my list whenever I see this like I want to build a list around this one.
Yeah, it's definitely a list warping piece. Like if you put this in, you build around it.
Yep.
I don't think I would take it without putting the Harris pieces in.
No, neither. I think
at least without trying. Especially the fireball, however it's pronounced.
Yeah.
I think it's
Feuerbacht, I think.
Feuerbacht.
Sounds like a German weapon. So.
Yeah. It's Bach on fire.
Yes.
But
I think this is an A piece. I'll probably put it up here because especially since it's 50 points. So I mean it's very cheap for what it does.
Yeah. Put it on A.
Then we have the Hellblazers. These ones got limited cover with Impetuous, so they can get the armor bonus, but they don't get the Vismod bonus.
Yep.
Martial arts level 2, which, as we mentioned, is like it's just one step from martial arts level 3, which would make them really good. But they're still, I mean,
Yep.
they're good. It's like 22 cc with explosive close combat weapon on PS6. So if they face anything that's not a martial arts model, they're gonna kill them in one order.
Yeah.
So these are, and there's
Yeah.
sub 20 points. So
They're okay.
Yeah.
And it's it's that it has some accidental oh fuck like suddenly a Flammenspeer hits you.
Yep. or a blitz.
Or suddenly you go too close to it and it says, oh, by the way, I have an explosive close combat weapon.
Yeah. Yeah, especially with the dodge plus 2 inches, since the dodge is 4 inches on 13s, means that you really have to be aware about them when you get too close. Having these ones as corner guards are really strong, with both the 2 Vitas, the bonus dodge, and being good enough to be a hassle regardless of who is going in there with their martial arts. It's just good.
I'm like, every profile that gets 2 wounds for under 20 points it can't be lower than B.
No. But I think this sticks at B. I'd probably say that it's above Psychop, but I think it's a B tier.
Yeah, I was just checking. I can't. It doesn't seem like you can. If you could duo them, I think they would be a solid ARO piece. Like they could stand up with Flammenspeer, shoot one Flammenspeer, and if they take a hit, they just lie down.
Yeah, but no, that's Torchlight spec stuff. So
yeah. But it has jump 8, which it's really good sometimes. Just be able to jump those 8 inches to get to spots.
Yep.
Being able to move in terrain is very good in this game.
Yeah, but I'm a bit like I don't know. Whenever I see jump 8, I get a bit frustrated because I feel like I probably spend points for a skill that I'm never going to use. Because the amount of times that I even use jump, like the entire order jump, not the super jump, is so rare.
This model is 18 points. I don't think you paid money for the 8-inch jump.
But it feels like I paid for it.
I don't care about your feelings. I think it's the freebie because this is like the price of a Tanko or a what's the Knights?
Yeah, the Teutonics Knights.
Teutonics, like it's the same points. So I think it's just a freebie.
I'm just comparing it to the White Banners Horang, and they are just so much better now. Like they have martial arts level 3. They have Disco Baller, they have Deactivators, they have BS attack -3, they have Albedo -3, they're just like, let's put all the stuff here.
But Hurangs are weird. They are.
They're amazing. But yeah.
They were drunk when they put the points on them.
Yeah. Just perfect.
I don't have PTSD from our last game.
Only 2 bears.
At all.
2 werewolves. So.
Werewolves.
The Omega then. This is the Gunfighter Mim -6 piece. And this is just, I like this one because this one doesn't have all the like the range or the array of special abilities. It's just immunity shock, Mim -6, and then guns.
I have great BS, I have good armor, I have 2 wounds, I have great mimetism, and I have a good gun.
Yep.
Let's go.
Yep.
The only thing sad, it's 4/4.
Yes, which is sad.
Yeah. Because I saw the Gamma and I was like, because the Gamma I think was 4/4 before.
No, the Gamma was 6/2 before as well.
Okay, cool.
So that's insane. But this one you can duo without any glue, so you can just put 2 as a fighting.
Would you put 2?
It would be if I took the heavy machine gun and the forward observer, because then I get not the forward observer, the tinbot. So I have firewall on it, and then you have the heavy riot stopper as a template, and the multi rifle for shorter range, and the heavy machine gun for longer range.
Yeah, but it's almost 80 point duo. It's very list warping.
For sure, but it's also 80 points that can fight anything basically.
Yeah.
So
what's the silver stars? What are the point costs? What does the glue cost? Is my question.
There is no glue to the Omega.
It can be Naharis, so you can have like Vidux.
Oh, you mean if you want to add something, you can add a gamma to it. You can have 2 omegas and a gamma, and then you have your what is it,
Uh,
120 points or something.
no, you can Harris it in O12 with 2 Vidocs.
Yeah, the omega. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure. But I mean, then you have the same point range as you would with just putting 2 omegas in.
yeah,
And
but you get the NCO and stuff.
yeah, but then
Yeah,
you can only have one
yeah,
Harris as well, so maybe you want to use that for something else.
yeah, yeah. It's there's flexibility at
Yeah,
least, and that's good. So
but
yeah, I take your point. It's
this to me, I don't know if this is B or A, since a min -6 attack piece, which is always nice, and 2 wounds on top of that. I think this is really hard to knock down.
yeah. I feel like it's uh, the bad part about being min -6 is that someone has MSV2, but that's usually when you're a tiny guy, like you're a Noctifier or something, you just have 2 armor and 1 wound.
Yeah,
This guy's like, okay, then I'll fight you fairly with 4 armor and
yeah,
BS14. So I think it's really, really good. I'd say A, because I do love my Mim 6.
I know you do. And I think I've only played with this like once or twice,
Yeah,
and it did good, and then I just forget about it because I mean, since it's a pricey model and O12 suffers a bit with trying to get their points together,
yeah,
then it's like, oh, do I want this one or do I want the gamma or do I want the, and then all of a sudden it's like I just put it away. But I think it's a soft piece.
I think the main reason why you forgot about it was because you started playing the Zeta, and the Zeta was just insane.
Yes,
But since that has gotten a little tap on the head now, maybe you'll use the Omega more.
a little, yeah.
Yeah, but let's keep
Yeah.
going. Put it in
Then
A.
we have the Raptor. This is also a 2-1 model with the 360 visor, and it has a peripheral and a small bot with a heavy flamer.
Mm,
So you can fork it with the flamer and the multi rifle if you're playing the killer. I usually play the killer hack and profile because then you can cyber mask and that cyber mask the Deva bot as well, so you can move them around in marker states, which is always good.
Yeah. The killer hacker I think is the piece to play with this because all of the others suffer the problem of being hackable. But as you say, the killer hacker just goes into impersonate state and then moves around the table as it pleases.
Yeah.
And the popping out and saying, well, I'm going to put a heavy flamer template over your guys, and then I'd either shoot you with an emitter or with a multi-rifle with my other guy.
Yeah.
It's a good.
And it has
good.
NCO just in case you need it. So
yeah, and it's a 6-2 mover and 6-4 on the bot even. Nice.
Yeah, I put this
I
in.
think it's solid. I get confused because it's called Raptor Boarding Squad, and I'm like, where's the parachutist? Where's the super jump? I always believe that these guys are the deltas. So,
Right.
so
No.
because these guys they're literally called bird.
No, these are the ones that knock down your door, bust in, and heavy flamer your entire apartment. And then like, this is the police.
This is the Velociraptor boarding squad.
Exactly. That's it. Clever girl.
Yeah. But I think the killer hacker piece is probably A. I think.
Yeah, I'll put it in A. But the only thing is like, is it A because it's a good attack piece or a good specialist? But I think it's a mix of both, which makes it good, and that's so.
Yeah, and I think its first job is as an attack piece, and the second job is being a specialist.
Yeah.
That's
probably.
That's my gut feeling.
Then the question is like, is it above Omega Epsilon? Like, where do we?
No, it still has to get there and can be discovered and stuff. So it's it'll take more orders, would be my gut feeling, because the more Omega just starts shooting from your deployment zone and goes, and this guy has to spend a little time to get to places.
Yeah, and it usually ends up you have to spend an order to cybermask because you're out in the open otherwise. So.
Yeah. He has NCO though, so he gets an extra order compared to other guys, but yeah.
Depends.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. But
then we have the Silver Star Rovers then. And these are like the regular HI they have from combat rifle up to heavy machine gun or missile launchers. Some of them have attack aware.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're BS13, ARB3, BTS6. So it's like, yeah,
Yeah, they can duo. It's pretty sweet.
yeah,
But yeah, they're they feel pretty meh in my book.
yeah,
Like, yeah, they're okay.
yeah.
Um,
I'd probably put them above the Hellblazers, just because they're specialist operative, all of them.
yeah,
Because why not? And if you, as you mentioned, like you duo them, then you can have the pseudo burst 5 heavy machine gun.
yeah. Or you could have like a missile launcher standing up a row
Yeah,
guy.
yeah, and especially with the 2 Vita, so and immune to shock, so it's really hard to kill it in one order, and then it just lies down
Yeah,
if it's too much.
yeah. And it looks more expensive than it is as they have. You play the ones with tactical awareness is my gut feeling.
Yeah, at least one.
Yeah,
Maybe that you take the firewall one as well as the other one, so you get all the 4 orders. You have the heavy machine gun and the firewall, or the missile launcher and the firewall.
yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
some kind of setup.
Looks stable. Not but they're pricey for not having any Wiz mods, and
Yeah,
so.
they're paying for
Oh,
the
this
spreadsheets.
one, next one.
Yeah,
This
it's the Wrecker.
this pleasantly surprised me last time we played.
Yeah, this is a cool piece. They especially
They got better,
they
right? Because they didn't have
no,
or
no, the world got worse. That's what
okay,
happened.
okay. The world got
Yes.
worse.
So they basically didn't change from N4, but since the Prime is worse and the Zeta is worse and like all the attack pieces and links and everything is worse, and this doesn't link, so well,
Yeah,
that's not what it's supposed to be. So it's still, and so you have the I use the heavy rocket launcher BS attack +1 burst, and it has BS attack SR -1 and AP, which means that having a heavy rocket launcher with AP and also SR -1 is
yeah.
very, very good.
POS 5 AP is good.
Yeah,
That ignores cover.
yeah.
It's good.
No,
It's good.
it's very, very good.
Yeah,
It's
and it's got RAM press, so it's hard to kill, and it easily comes back.
Yeah.
It got BTS 9, which is much stronger now since that wards off spotlight and stuff too.
Yep.
Yeah, it's good. I was very pleasantly surprised by it. So
Yeah, I think this is a really prime piece. And if you compare it to the Gamma that we talked about before,
yeah,
if you don't link the Gamma, I think the Wrecker is better. They're in the same price range. The Gamma is 50 or 51 points, and the Wrecker with the heavy rocket launcher is 51.
yeah,
But having continuous damage weapons on burst 3 with heavy rocket launcher,
yeah, and templates.
yeah,
People can't cluster up, and sometimes there's too little terrain in the deployment zone, and you have to cluster up, and then things can go bad.
yep. And it also has a chain rifle. So if you need
Yeah.
to be close to someone and template them, or someone tries to kill you, then you template them.
Yeah, and the O-12 has the good remote unit, so it has whip 13 when it wants to do
That
objectives,
it does.
and now you don't have to risk killing your operator when you do that. You just throw it out, it clicks the button, maybe it gets killed. You don't care. Your gun piece is still here. Yeah,
Yeah,
So-
and this one can definitely stand as an ARO piece as well. Since it has the 3 structure and it's continuous damage, which means that it's still dangerous in ARO compared to most other weapons which just do 1 damage.
Yeah, and having a template is basically like it also has AP, but the template is also AP because it removes 3 points of armor when you don't get your cover bonus.
Oh, yeah.
So it's got double AP, and that's nice.
Yeah, bring your Jotun. Let's duke it out.
Yeah, your Jotun is now armor 5 in cover.
Yes.
That's sad.
Oh, moving over to the sadness, the Zeta. It lost tank aware.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
But yeah, the Zeta, if we look at it, this is a climbing plus tag with a hyper rapid magnetic cannon, which is the best gun in the game. So
Yeah.
this is still it's very, very dangerous attack piece.
yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Like, it was great.
Oh, yeah.
And no, it wasn't great. It was fucking horrible to play against, because Climbing Plus in M4 is horrible. There's no way to. Suddenly, Zeta arrives in an angle you weren't prepared for, and there goes half of your guys.
Yep.
This is why we always play all camo list guys, so that doesn't happen.
Please do. Please do.
Never deploy. That's your first mistake. Don't deploy anything.
But this
Only markers.
This one for me is like mid B, mainly because it's a 70 point or 73 point if you take the NCO. And
I think you never take the NCO. You have such great chain of command in
the mental
O-12. You always play the Lieutenant Zeta. And then I think it goes up because it's a very hard to kill Lieutenant.
Yes, but it's still a tag, which means you can isolate it. Even if it's only BTS 6. But
if that happens, you have a 14-point chain of command because for some reason
that's
chain of command is free in this faction.
Yes.
So
just have it.
so I think that saves it a lot. So I'd say high B.
Yeah, okay. I'll put it in high B for you.
Yeah, I'd argue A, but we'll find out.
To me, it ends up in the almost D tier, and the reason I'm putting it almost D tier is like if you look at the gun pieces in A tier, they do what the Zeta want to do, but cheaper. So the only reason I would take it is like I want to play with the Zeta because I think it's cool. Otherwise, I wouldn't.
Yeah, but it's still very hard to kill.
Yeah. But still, I like it. It wouldn't get into my list due to that reason. But
that's I feel that also you're a bit like the attack aware hurt so much for you because it was so great before.
But also, I mean, if you compare it to the Wrecker, for example, which is like you drop it 29 points, you get attack aware, which means that you have the same number of orders as having the Zeta as a lieutenant on the model. You don't have to worry about losing the lieutenant role. You have an AP heavy rocket launcher compared to the AP hyper rapid magnetic cannon.
You drop it 19 points.
19 points. Oh, yeah, sorry. Calculating stuff. So, and I mean, sure, the Zeta's ballistic skill and better armor, and it's a lot going for them. But I feel like
and it has 2 extra burst.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
So it's a very good unit. But it's just difficult to justify it.
I'll agree to top of B. That's okay.
Then we come to remotes. We skip Fuss, we skip Kitte, we skip Millicent, because I don't think the missile bot, since it's only the missile launcher one.
It's so cheap, Niklas. It's a 16-point gun piece.
Yes. We'll skip the Moonrakers and the Okos and the Peelers, even though they have HMGs. But the Roadbot we can take a look at.
Yeah, the Roadbot will show up both as an attack piece and I think defensively too.
And specialist.
Yeah. But everything will show up in specialist. I don't think we should do the specialist for this because it's like, everything we talked about is also a specialist.
I will probably highlight like these are the really, really good specialists if you want to pinpoint. But I agree.
But it's a very good faction if you're new to the game because you don't have to think about having specialists. You will have specialists.
It's one of those joys when you ask me like, oh, have you remember specialists? And I calculated and I had 14 out of 15 models were specialists. And like, yes, I have specialists. And I didn't even think about it because they're just there.
I remember when you were new to the game and you were so tired of playing O-12. You were like, I don't see what these guys have. And then I got you to try like Jujing, and you were like, I have to pay for specialists. What bullshit is this?
And they all suck. So can't use them for anything.
Why would I put points into this?
Horrible. It's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
But the Roadbots, they are 8-4 move, which is very, very good, especially since they have Climbing Plus. Even though Climbing Plus is nerfed, I think since they have 8-4 and only a size 3 silhouette, they can actually use it to like travel alongside walls. So they can skip around corners and they can do a bit of shenanigans with their Climbing Plus.
Do they get slower? Because climbing is 6 now. So
that is true. They get slower.
Do they get slower?
That is true. Yeah, they do. Fucking hell.
So
Never mind.
sometimes you will climb, but most times you will go speedy, speedy, speedy.
Then you
speedy.
go your 8 movement up to a wall, and then you climb on your second move to get 6 inches.
Yeah. They also did the. I'm not a real bike, so I didn't get the bike nerfs. So
They're a proper
you
min
didn't
minus
get
3.
limited cover or anything like that. So you can claim you can claim cover and have mimetism.
Yeah.
And they have an insane interaction in their rules, which is they have one wound and they have no wounding cap, and then they have remote presence.
Yeah.
So if they take one wound, they go into unconscious, and then you say, "I activate my no wounding cap." If they take 2 wounds, they go into unconscious level 2, and then you say, "I activate my no wounding cap." So they can take an absurd amount of punishment.
Yeah. You basically have to
And
hit them twice, regardless of
Yeah.
like if you do 3 wounds on the first hit, they die. Otherwise, you will need to hit them twice.
Yeah. And doing 3 wounds on a hit is pretty uncommon in this game.
Yeah, definitely. The only like if you look at it as the from an attack piece perspective, the good thing with them is that you have the heavy riot stopper on the paramedic, which is the cheapest one as well. So you can go the 20 points, have a specialist that is 8-4 movement. You have the submachine gun for close range. You have the Panzerfaust if you want to arrow or shoot something, and then the heavy riot stopper when you get close. Because like even though heavy riot stopper doesn't kill stuff, with the meta that I'm starting to feel the edge towards with more wounds and everything, I feel like it's gonna be even better because high wound profiles will be just glued to the ground.
Yeah, and then and they have that real sneaky combo that they can duo with like an Oko bot, which is an 18-point bot that also has a tactical awareness.
Yep.
So it's very quick and cheap in orders.
Yep.
So it just zooms
Yeah.
zooms over the board.
I usually include these, like if your opponent doesn't have any standing arrows, then you just drive across the table and into the deployment zone in like 2 orders.
Yeah, they're weirdly kind of like bears used to be.
Yep.
Like they're really hard to kill when they move up, and they can fuck about in your deployment zone and cause havoc. So yeah,
These from an attacker
really good.
perspective, I'd say that these are a B tier attacker. They're not like super great. They're good, but as a unit overall, I definitely put them in the A tier.
Yeah,
so I'm gonna put them in A tier.
I would put very high in A.
Yeah.
As a general unit, because these are almost S to me.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it might be low S.
Yeah. So
especially when we come to talking defense. Oh, these are so good.
Yeah, because they do everything.
Yes,
like
they do everything.
They do everything. So yeah,
and they do everything for 20 points, which means that if we do the Philip calculation of everything, like if you have 300 points on 15 models, that's an average of 20, and they cost 20, so they don't need you to justify their space.
No, they're an auto include, I would say. At least 1, probably 2.
Yep.
And well, I would probably say that they're A as an attack piece because they don't deal with standing AROs, but when the standing AROs are gone, then they can really get into your face and start picking out things.
Yep.
Like they don't have the best weapons. Like if they had chain rifles, they would be more scary in your deployment zone. But it's still, if you face an HI army, if you come around the corner on a fire team and say hello, glue, they get sad.
Yeah, they're dangerous in different ways.
Yeah, and they have submachine guns. Submachine guns got nerfed, but still okay.
Yeah, but that also means that the robot dropped in points because they have them. So
yeah.
So we're all happy here. Next then, this
I'd say A. I don't know where you put them. I'd say
put them in S tier now.
Yeah.
As a unit then, but I just wanted to preface it so people understand like the full gist of it.
Stormbot.
The Stormbot. This is also one of the two Vita models. It's a remote, so it's an S4, so it's kind of big in size. It's a repeater, which means that even though it's a remote, if you have killer hackers, people don't want to hack this. Or don't want to get close to it. It has BSAC SR -1 and remote presence because it's a remote, and courage, which if I remember correctly, don't all remote presence have courage or something? Oh, well, either way.
Yeah, I think so.
It has courage in a way.
And it has heavy rocket launcher +1 burst.
Yes. So you can also shoot a burst 3. So this is like a mini wrecker. It's
the baby wrecker.
No AP on its heavy rocket launcher, and it drops some in armor and Vita and stuff, but it's also 31 points. So it's
you shouldn't buy the model. You should 3D scan the wrecker and just scale it down so you get a mini wrecker that's size 2, and then you size 4, and then you deploy it and go.
Just chop the legs off of the wrecker and put the tracks instead. Like,
no, you chop it off, and then you have 2, so you can have 2 Stormbots.
What? Oh, so derpy. Yeah. No, but this I think this is an okay unit. I feel like it ends up in, since it's you either have to link it, which I'm not sure that you really can in.
I don't. No, you can't in vanilla.
No, which means it's basically only the heavy rocket +1 burst that is viable, and
I don't think you would have linked it for saving 2 points. Doesn't feel like worth it.
Now you're saving 2 points, so you get an EM mine as well if you need it.
Yeah, but I don't think this guy will mainly do the mine thing. I think it's a heavy rocket platform.
Yeah, it's mainly if you want to go with a burst 5 combi rifle or pseudo burst 5.
Yeah. The thing that this has that the Wrecker doesn't have is if you play an Evo bot, you can give this thing marksmanship. And shooting 3 heavy rocket launchers at basically BS-16. It's good.
Oh, yep. Wow, that means you really ignore all cover. You ignore the modifier and you ignore the armor. So it's like, there is no cover.
They have true marksmanship.
Yes, everyone else are just hoax.
Half marksmanship.
Yeah. But
I think they're B.
Yeah, I think there is.
You're not an idiot for playing them,
no.
But it's don't hope that it's your strongest piece.
I also think like if you look at them stat wise, they look better than they are because they are size 4, and size 4 is really hard to maneuver. Even they are 6'4" moves, so they're fast. But there's also big.
They're basically a derpy bike that shoots a lot.
Yeah. So, but I'd say it high B tier. That's where I put it.
And you can with they're very durable since they have 2 structure and remote presence.
Yep.
So you can really do some derpy stuff if you want to throw your speed wall at this. It can take 3 wounds and still get up again.
Then I'll skip the Yudbots because they're Yudbots, and then we go to the Nightshade. And I'm gonna put this as the top S tier. This to me is the best unit in the entire game at the moment. Maybe Norcas is better when I think about it because stupid.
Okay. I can't see it. Please explain to me why this is so.
This is a hidden deployment, camouflage, min -6, super jump, close combat specialist. So it has martial arts level 3, so it rolls the 2 dice. It has CC22 in base, so it will roll on 25s with EM-CC weapons or para-CC weapon -6. So if you fight a tag, you fight them, and they are probably not martial artists. You fight them on 25s with 2 dice, and you have EM-CC weapon, and you're just gonna shut them down in one order. And since you're super jumping and camouflage, they have 6/6 movement in marker state from hidden deployment, so the opponent doesn't know where they are. They are insane. And if you fight, you end up like, there's a close combat specialist, end up with it. Then you draw your para-CC weapon. You still roll 2 dice. You have your 25. You go down
and
to
the enemy gets -9.
Yeah, -9 total. So unless they're like natural born warrior, you're just gonna like kudunk, and because you're gonna crit and they can't.
Yeah,
it's no.
Yeah.
And
They have
yeah.
the thing is that they have one wound, so they're really scared of mines.
Oh yeah, yeah, sure. So you have to be aware about that. But besides the mine thing, and I mean, since they're
Yeah,
hidden deploy, means that
yeah,
you will always choose when you take that fight, unless the
yeah,
opponent use sensor and spots it, of course. But I mean,
yeah,
that's a very edgy case.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But
No, I think they're really good. I am, and the combination camouflage and super jump and the good CSA, it's just insane.
yeah, no, it's so good.
Yeah.
I did this in one game. I'm sorry, Glenn, but shout out. So I took the. I just want to try like how derpy can I take this engagement? And he went past a template guy lying in wait, super jumped over a corner into four people with templates and just to make sure that his stigmaton got EMCC'd.
Yeah.
And it's like, you can't stop me from doing this. Like,
No.
because this is gonna happen. Like, you have to succeed with all your armor saves, and that's it. Like, that's the only way.
Yeah, and it's like if the enemy plays a tag and doesn't have an engineer,
Yep.
that tag's out of the game.
Yep. Unless you're facing Glendon, because he rolled a 1 on his first reset roll. So, but you know, that's...
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, but
Yeah,
it's
good.
such a
Good.
good unit. And especially since you can take it as a killer hacker as well, which means that you can have it as a specialist. So if you want to do the hidden specialist route, you can do that as well. And it's only...
Yeah, and that's a way to get around the mines, because you go into imp, and imp doesn't make mines that explode.
Oh, right.
So then you ignore mines.
Yeah, okay. It got even better.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
an S tier that got S plus. Check.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
It's scary,
and
but you will probably trade. Like
Oh,
it
yeah.
will probably, as you say, jump in, get templated, but it will, yeah,
yeah, and that's like depending on like how you set up your defense versus it, but it's definitely like it's gonna kill something, and depending on what you want to kill, it might die.
yeah,
Um,
Yep.
the
Yep.
the thing that I want to mention about this as well, if you are not used to playing against O-12, all O-12 sectorials can have the Nightshade, which means that whenever you face either Starmada or Torchlight or O-12 Vanilla, if there is only 14 guys on the table, just know that something is gonna die. That's it's gonna happen.
yeah, and you can never be sure because it could also be Cuervo
Yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So it's
yeah. But yeah, after that it sounds like an auto include.
Yep. But you know what the good thing is? You can have both.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyhow, moving on to the Gangbuster.
Nope.
I'm sorry, what? Dope?
I say nope.
No.
This is not an attack piece.
No, I agree. This is more of a specialist mind layer stuff. So it's
Yeah.
Then we have the Racer, and this is the midfielding min-6 model.
Yeah. Looks more like a specialist to me. Or defensive piece, as you can put out a
Yeah.
monofilament mine.
Yes.
That's nasty.
That was the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah, we get.
No, I
we
think
get
we'll
back.
get to that as a defensive piece, yeah.
Yeah.
Then we have Hippolyta. And this is an attack piece for sure.
Yeah. This is nasty. Like it's. I'm so happy that she got downgraded to only have smoke.
Yeah.
But she is still one scary broad.
Yeah. And in some cases, smoke is better because you have the Epsilon with the MSV2, so you can smoke trick with her now.
Yeah, and she really liked the berserk changes.
Oh, yeah.
She was like, "Thank you, I have martial arts level 3.
Cis.
This is great.
Yeah.
It's much harder to kill me now, and I will kill you."
Oh, she's really strong. And since she got upgraded to limited cover as well, so now she gets armor when she takes cover.
Oh, she got upgrade. Yeah.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
since she's an impetuous model, I mean, sure, if you link her, but you don't link her.
Yeah,
then
you can't link her in this, right?
I don't think so.
No, it doesn't look like that. Nope.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
So it was a downgrade in the which faction is it that she can link in
in
O-12?
Torchlight.
Torchlight. Yeah. So it was a downgrade there, but here it's
Here it's an upgrade.
yeah, here it's an upgrade because now she can take cover.
Yep.
And she has super jump, so she moves 6/6. She has mimics minus. She has all the good rules.
Yep. And she has like just at the edge of everything as well. Like she has berserk, so she can 6/2 move if she needs it. She has min -6. She has martial art level 3, stealth and super jump. She's not hackable.
She gets very happy if you give her speedball because she has shock immunity. So if someone actually crits you and does 2 wounds, you still don't die.
Yep.
And, yeah.
Yeah, she's a tough one.
She's I'd say S on her too.
I say S on her.
Yeah.
I think
probably lowest of the S's.
Yeah, I do agree. I think she's really good. The only problem I see is like the other S tier, which functions in a similar way, would probably steal her spotlight. Like I'd probably rather include the Nightshade than Hippolyta because they're in the same price range. Because Nightshade is guaranteed to get the job done, while Hippolyta has to make sure that land smokes on 14s and take the distance and everything. But then again, Hippolyta is much harder to kill. So
yeah, she will like. To me, it's different. Like if it's a scenario where you need to hold ground, you play Hippolyta because she will kill stuff and survive.
Yep.
And then she's good at holding ground. Like so, I think it's different tech and yeah.
Yep.
So, but I put her below them. Because generally she's worse than that, but I still think she's an S piece.
Yep.
Like
I'll leave her up there. Then we have the Varangian Guards. I guess you can call them an attack piece. It's the second smoke for O-12.
Yeah, like they're as an attack piece. I'm not that impressed with them. They got happier with the berserk changes because they have berserk +3, so they will always hit at least CC 23 when they punch other martial artists. So they're all right, but not great.
No.
They're cheap smoke, as you said.
Yeah.
So
I'll put them slightly like around the Hellblazer, and if they have a different role, and that's it. Then we have the Fire Bat Attack Wing. I'm gonna put this in D. This is such crap.
At least this one has has range with a Thunderbolt +1 burst.
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah.
Like it's not the hack one with shotguns,
No.
and you're like, this one will never make it to shotgun ranges.
But
I'm very confused because you have the Squallow. It has super jump and it has super jump. It has super jump jet propulsion and super jump 8 inches. This one has super jump jet propulsion and jump 8 inches.
Yes. What does that mean?
Yeah.
No, I guess it's the same. It's only wording problem.
Yeah.
But I feel like if we go to it as a unit and assuming that it super jumps 8, since this is you cannot claim cover at all ever, and it's a mim 6 with armor 3, which means that it's almost like saying this is a mim 3 armor 0.
Yeah.
And having a mim 3 armor 0 unit for 36 points, I don't see it. Like, when is this?
I think maybe the Nomad one is okay, but they feel overpriced, and I understand that they were afraid of creating a monster, so they probably overpriced them.
I think there are some of them. I think the Pano is also kind of okay. I think Nomad is kind of good, but we'll get to those later. But for the Firebat, this one, the only good thing is this is the only super jump 8 inches that O-12 has access to. So in that regard, it has a niche that no one else has. But since you have the submachine gun +1 burst or the thunderbolt +1 burst, those are your attack ranges. Means that you are probably going to use your super jump to maneuver sideways rather than towards your opponent.
Yeah.
So I think this might be a good piece for newer players, because if you put this in the wrong place, you can just move where you want in one order and still fire.
Yeah. I'd probably say, like, this one at least, it has 2 wounds.
Yep.
Like, it has some forgiving traits to it. It has mim -6. Like, I'd probably put it low C, lowest C.
Lowest C. Yeah, that's where I had it.
Uh,
And
yeah,
then you started.
yeah. I thought you said D first.
Oh
So.
no. That's I moved it up. But,
Okay. Yeah. Lowest C, I'd say.
Yeah.
It can be played, but I think it's overpriced for what it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. That was all of the attack pieces.
Yeah, and I think the rest will speed up now.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Because we kind of gone through a bit of the defensive stuff also.
Yeah. But let's take a look at defensive stuff. So I'm gonna reload this page, and that didn't work. So I'm gonna do it like this instead. That didn't work either. Can I reset it?
Everything's going
There's
perfect,
a
guys.
reset
We
button.
we know what we're doing.
Yes.
It's not the first time we do this at all.
No. There we go. Reset done.
We're professionals.
Yeah, we're professionals for sure.
I mean,
Yes.
if someone pays us for this, we could be professionals.
It wouldn't be better though.
We make Glenn pay for this.
Yes.
Yes.
Defensive pieces then.
Yeah.
I think once again we're gonna skip the first ones and start looking at the links.
Yeah. The only thing I could say for defensive stuff is you could say that Shaw and the Ment are defensive things because they have chain of command cheaply that you can hide.
Yeah, I think we'll get to that when we talk about lieutenant options.
Yeah.
We can talk about
Yeah.
chain of command.
That's good. We go to the links.
Because otherwise the only thing that I could mention is the blue coat because it has the riot stoppers and adhesive launcher rifles.
Yeah.
But it's too expensive, so don't do it.
Yes, the links.
Yes.
And we're only talking about the sniper rifle, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's something to it to have the like defensive wise. You could also use the plasma carbine because then you can hidden deploy it and you have a template weapon. And since it's when opponent usually think you don't have hidden deploy anymore, and then you drop it with a +3, so it's a BS16 inside. 16 inches and you're still on burst 1, but it's a template, so it could really mess up.
Yeah.
But it's very
my gut feeling is you already have stuff in like hidden deployment and probably some combat jump stuff, so it'll start costing you orders. So I think the multi-sniper's where it's at if we talk about it.
Yeah. And as a multi-sniper, this to me falls into, like, a lot of armies have this, where it's a MIM6, hidden deployment, multi-sniper.
Yeah.
And
B at best is my gut feeling.
Yeah, I think they're good. If your opponent don't have anything to handle MSV, don't have any MSV to handle mimetism, it's really powerful. So this is this to me ends up in the same, like, it depends on the skill of your opponent. If your opponent is not sure how to deal with MIM-6 models, this is a very solid defensive piece because it can shut the entire game field down. But if
looking at you, Philip, by MSV.
But it's not only MSV. I mean, you can take this with smoke. You can maneuver it in different ways. But it's like just like, how do you attack stuff? Do you just punch it in the face and hope it dies, or do you outmaneuver it? And so
my only gut feeling is these hidden deployment pop-up ARO pieces. I really like the template, and the lack of template is a bit hurting because there's nothing better than popping up and blowing up a fire team. Like,
I've never had the opportunity to do it, but I'm looking forward to it with triple Hundon. So it's gonna happen.
Horrible triple Hundon. I'd say it's B.
We'll put it at B. We'll continue down the next.
Monstruckers, I think.
Do you think they're
because they can throw drop bears, they can put up turrets with their own order. So
to me, Monstruckers are C at best. They're too expensive to be any regular order to fit into O-12.
Yeah, I think in some lists they're really strong because you can afford having a 15-point irregular. because he will always spend his regular either throwing drop bears or putting out an armored turret.
Yep.
But I think, and it's an AP rifle turret, so it's an okay turret. But yeah,
Yep.
that's I just wanted to mention them.
Yeah, I didn't because it's one of those. It doesn't exist. I don't see it when I look through the list. So it's good that you mention it. Cool. Then we have the Raven Eye.
Yeah.
And this, they have mine layer and either have EM or cyber mines.
Yeah.
And to me, these are really good since there's a 12-point model and it drops a mine, so it's a corner guard as well. And yeah, it's just a good piece.
Yeah, and what you mean by that is O-12 struggles with really cheap orders.
Yeah.
So 12 points is a cheap order in O-12.
Yeah. And then also adding that you have a mine, which means
so it's a cheap order and it's yeah.
Yeah, it's a
and you can and you do that a lot. You use the mine to trick people and stuff like that. Is this a mine? Is it a guy standing up there in camouflage?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're good. And an EM mine is a nasty mine.
Yeah. And it's even, I'd say, when it comes to having mines in your deployment zone, EM and cyber mines are the two best mines in the game because they stop the attack. Because my take on when it comes to attacking, killing stuff, I love to do it, but the things that are going to attack you will have multiple wounds. So you will explode, they will maybe take one wound, and then they'll continue killing you. But if they take an EM, then they just stop, and then you don't have to deal with it.
EM is good. Yep. It's like mine is EM, cyber mine, and the viral mine or monofilament.
Right.
Those are also pretty good at stopping things.
Yeah, pretty good. Speaking of killing stuff. But there's also like a tech strategy wise with the Raven Eye, because whenever someone comes up and engages my Raven Eye, my usual response is to drop a mine and not to fight them. Since you have a BS11 guy with a submachine gun, you're gonna hit on maybe a 14, or if they're in cover or out of range, you're gonna hit on like 8s, or you dodge.
You just say kill me, and next turn you will have to dodge with -3, or you will be done for this turn with that one.
And just like try to draw the orders out of your opponent as much as possible.
Yeah, that's how you win the game, guys.
Yep.
Cost your enemy all his orders, then you can do whatever you want.
Yep.
Yes, the Lambdas, they also can place out turrets, and they have a real nasty turret. They have a +1 burst adhesive launcher turret. That's a burst 3 adhesive launchers, and adhesive launchers make you sad.
Yeah.
Because they glue you, and glue is bad.
Oh yeah. No, I think they're so cool, and I mean since it's an engineer as well, and you basically pay 3 points to get that turret.
And it has a deactivator, which is a useful thing now, because there are turrets and stuff.
Yeah. I think, to me, this is like a high B. I think it's definitely viable to play, especially if you try to do the turret thing. But
if it had mine layer, it would be an A, or but not having that, you'll have to spend an order, so it's not defensive the first turn if you're second player. So it's a B.
Then we have Team Sirius, but I'll once again leave that to hacking.
Yeah.
And then we'll take
the Vidok.
Vidok.
This is one of my favorite new models in the O-12. Like, this is one of my for people who have played with me, one of my favorite things to play with is Major Luna. And this is Major Luna, but with a double action instead of a viral rifle.
Which is even better now because viral got nerfed. So since it doesn't work against structure. So
so it's a mimetism camouflage piece that you put up. It has MSV1, so you can't smoke it. It's got NCO. This baby does it all. I really love it.
The only thing, and I'm just saying this because we had an encounter in our last game. If you smoke versus this, then you have to declare a reaction with your camo token through the smoke, because you can see it with your camo token. So that way people can actually distinguish, is this a mine or not? You just drop the smoke, you move something through. Does your opponent declare any arrows on their camo tokens? You did, then that's a Vidok.
I haven't checked that out yet, so I'll I'll wait on that,
Okay.
but possibly,
Yeah, but
possibly so.
my gut feeling is that that's probably how it's supposed to be. But yeah, we'll check it out. That might be a thing for you who want to play versus Vidox to have as a possible
But
trade.
in general, I'd place this in an A because it's
Yeah.
a defensive piece that can also be aggressive, and being aggressive with a multi sniper is a good way to kill AROs because it's a multi sniper, so you can outrange people. Yeah,
And I mean,
it's good.
since it's a camouflage with surprise attack -3 and also mimetism,
Yeah,
I've used this, as you mentioned, like as an attack piece, so like support when it's I need to pick this piece, and then I just camouflage, get into position, and then shoot them with -9 with cover, mimetism, and surprise attack.
yeah, or -12 if you outrange them. So
Yeah,
it's,
so no, it's a very very strong piece, and as you mentioned with the NCO as well, so it'll probably get a free order anyway. So
yeah.
3, 2, 1, and we're back again. So the Warcore.
Yay! The Warcore
Yeah,
is always your worst defensive piece.
I'll put it as S tier. It's the best. No, but it's I struggle so much with where to put it because I mean, as an O-12 player, I almost always have it because it's a 3-point model.
Yeah,
And
but I see it as a 3-point regular order that you can turn regular in most of my list.
yeah, but
I don't put it up on ARO for the world.
oh, I do all the time. Prime ARO.
Is it your first ARO?
I mean, it's an
Is it your
angle
defensive
ARO.
line?
It's the first ARO in a lot of cases, yeah.
Okay.
Because if it lands, that means that the attack run is done.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, flash pulse is a strong weapon,
Yep.
but yeah.
But sure, I don't do a deployment zone to deployment zone. That's true.
Yeah, that's
No, but
that's what I meant
I'll,
with first.
I'll,
It's the first layer.
I'll put it in B tier, and it's a Warcore, and people know
Yep.
about the Warcore.
Yep.
So it's
Yeah.
I'd say if you have the points and the troop slot, just add it. It's gonna do wonders sometime, and then you're so happy you have it, and the rest of the game is not gonna do anything, and you don't care because it was 3 points. So who cares? Cool. Moving on then.
It's the fuzz spot, the next one.
Yeah,
No,
it's
not the fuzz
either
spot.
that, or if we're gonna look at the Epsilon, the multi-sniper version with the MSV2 and min-3. I'm not
Yeah,
so
I wouldn't put the 32-point model standing up. That's just
no. Then we'll skip it. Then
yeah. You can do that, but someone will come in with MSV1 and burst 4 or something, and then it'll be gone.
Yeah.
And it just cost you 32 points and a good attack piece.
Yeah. On the other hand, I've had opportunities where I put it like in the back of my deployment zone, looking out over the field. So it's very difficult to get a good range on it unless you have like a sniper yourself.
Yeah, like you could, if you have deployment, so the enemy deploys before you, and you're like, I see 14 models, and none of them have a sniper rifle. Then you could probably put it up, but
or that looks like something that I want to run across the table with smoke. Okay, then I'll shut it down.
Yeah, but you have to be very careful with it. So you could put it in like low B. For defensive.
Yeah, it's definitely a defensive piece that you can use. But yeah, as you mentioned, be aware with it. But I'll skip the Nimrod, I'll skip Sonya, I'll skip the Gamma. The Hellblazer, I'm not going to put it up there, but just as I mentioned, this is a great corner guard. Like if you have problem with people running into your deployment zone and making your life miserable, get 2 of these. Put one on the outer edges of your deployment zone on either side. So they're the first thing if your opponent attacks you from the side. Because that's, from my experience, like I feel like Infinity is played like soccer. Like the way that people attack is like they go through the edges and then they go into the deployment zone.
Yeah,
and so
it's the pincer maneuver, man.
Yeah.
It's the pincer maneuver.
It's football, or soccer. That's what it is.
Yeah, and they have shotguns, and shotgun is a great defensive weapon when there's less templates now, and you have 2 wounds.
Yep.
So
because
you hit on good, and they and if they hit you on as good, they're using a shotgun and they're probably burst 2, and that's scary odds being burst 2 versus burst 1 in that, and you can take 1 or 2 hits with these guys.
Yeah. So they're great corner guards, just as I mentioned.
Yeah. So they're good corner guards.
Yeah, I put them up.
And corner guards are important, guys.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, you get ninjas in your butt, and you might get them anyway.
Yes. Skip Raptors, rovers. We mentioned it before. There is a possibility to link or to have a duo with the missile launcher. Since missile launcher is both a template and it's explosive, AP and stuff. Not AP if you do the template, but it's explosive. So it
and it has a very good ranges. So 24 to 40. It's a good ARO range. It's not a good attack range.
The only problem with having this one, that's why I put it like in low B, maybe low C as a defensive, is because you're paying 31 points for the standing arrow, and you also need at least 27 points for the other rover. So you're paying almost 60 points to have that one guy that stands.
But it's a very scary guy.
That's true. It's a very scary guy.
But I'd put them in B. You can do it. It's not great.
No, and it's similar with the wrecker. I'll put it in like mid B. This is definitely something you can have as standing a row. But if you do, make sure that you have enough space. So if you take a hit, you can choose to fail your guts roll to move out of line of sight. Yeah,
because these are tags, so they can't lie down. So you need to get behind buildings. And that's So the Wrecker is okay. The Zeta is trickier, I feel. If you play the Zeta, it might become an ARO because you can't hide it. So it might be an involuntary ARO. But
no, that's true. So so I'll put the Zeta up here as well. I mean, and it's also like if you have those expensive pieces, you will probably lack in a lot of other defenses. So you have to use them as defensive pieces. So just like peek as little as possible, try to get angles with make sure that your opponent can't just shoot at them 15 times in a row, because then they're gonna die, and then you don't have your attack piece, and then it's sad.
And you don't want the first thing that happens in your first turn. You don't want to be losing a 70 point Zeta.
No, that is also your lieutenant. So no, don't do that.
Rough start.
Yes. I'm skipping the fast spot, or do you want to?
No. We mentioned the fast spots. They are C because Johan will want to claim that the total reaction combi rifle is the best gun in the world.
Yeah, to him it's an S tier. For everyone else, it's a C tier. It's
moving on.
It's a D tier. I mean, if that is to me like if someone puts a total reaction combi rifle, especially now with the upgraded peeler, I would be like, what are you doing? Like, what's the
there could be a discussion that it's more stuff is going to get into your deployment zone, so it could be good to have a total reaction guy in your deployment zone.
But it doesn't have 360 vision.
Oh, okay.
So it's I'm sorry, no.
But you just put it butt in a corner, so it sees everything that it sees.
Oh yeah, okay. It's a repeater. I can give it that, which means that you can actually cover with a hacker. So that. Then we have the flash pulse, and I feel like this one ends up close to the war core. It's similar. It's a repeater as well, which means that it's a bit better because you can cover it with hacking as well.
Yeah, and it has min -3, which means better.
Yeah, but it's one of those like you pay 7 points for it. This is also one of those you're probably gonna have one because it's cheap.
Yeah.
So it's
like 100%. It's in your O-12 list because this is the cheapest regular order you can have, right?
Yep, it is. And I can have one, so it's in there.
And now we get to the S.
So we're skipping the missile bot, and then we take the Moonraker.
Yeah.
Moonraker is a solid A.
No, this is an S, man. When do you not have this? This is an auto-include. You always have 2 of these.
That's true. I'm even struggling with it because I mean, since you take the mine layer, because that way you have more camo token and your opponent has to like respect it. So you always start an O-12 list with 5 Swick.
Yeah.
And you probably want
Yeah,
a hacker
you
too.
you
So
all if you play an O-12 list and it doesn't have two minor acres, I'm confused.
yep.
Like then you have some really weird niche shit where you absolutely needed every Swick you could get your hands on because you're doing some weird bullshit. But
And this, guys, is where you realize if you're playing against Ville, Ville will expect that the 4 camo token in the midfield are gonna be Moonrakers. That's when you pop the Razor, but we're gonna get to that. That's and then you pop the
yep,
monofilament in his face.
yeah,
Uh,
you do that.
but yeah, we have
And
the
oh yeah,
the Moonrakers. Yeah, it's definitely a good unit. I mean,
yeah,
a 15-point midfielder with mind layers, you have 2 camo tokens. It slows down your
yeah.
opponent so much.
It has rem press, so if it goes down, it probably don't. It's probably you can get it up again with an
No,
engineer.
actually, Rem Presence is bad for the Moonraker. Because usually what happens with it is either A, it's unconscious, so it takes spots in your main groups, you can't move units into your main group, your main battle group. Or B, it's unconscious and your opponent goes and touches it and scores victory points.
Yes,
I
and this is where the extra are super good,
Yes,
guys, because no one can do missions against the extra.
if I could choose, I would put extra on Moonrakers rather than Remote Presence. It would be a better unit with extra.
Yeah, but you can still do the nastiness of speedball, go in, tank shit, and shoot heavy shotgun at people with these guys.
Yeah,
I know you have 5 better things to do with it, but
it's like
it's still for a 15-point model.
yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, sure. And as a like, I don't know what to do. It's
Yeah,
yeah, it can do it. And
yeah,
it has an adhesive launcher rifle as well in ARO,
yeah.
which means that it can actually glue big stuffs. So
I wish I had these in every faction I played.
oh yeah, me too. They're very very good. Super handy.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll skip the
Healers.
copper pots, but we go to the peelers.
Yeah,
The Thunderbolt +1 burst for no Swick actually makes these ones playable.
yeah,
I'd say that these are B
Oh.
or possibly A tier at the moment.
yeah. I'd say high B because
Yeah.
it's still burst 3 on BS11 with no stuff like
That's true.
it's you. I wouldn't fault you for playing them, but it's not the first thing I put in a list.
It's just that it's like
So
it's similar as with the robot. It's a 19-point models, so it doesn't really take space, so to say.
yeah,
So it's very easy to fit them in your list. Because that was the problem I felt with the heavy machine gun version. Because then it's like it's a Swick and it's also 24 points, so you have to find the point somewhere, which is a bit difficult. But I think that
yeah, and in my field, it's often the Swick that's the biggest problem, right? I don't know how that's in O-12, but in other
it
factions.
depends. If you go like more to the drop and Hippolyta version, then you can play this really Swick starved.
Yeah.
Or other way around.
But then I
guess.
feel it's they're easier to fit in
Yeah.
because in most factions I play, it's like, but I need my Swick.
Yeah.
So
But I feel that is
Yeah.
true for most factions. If you go for something strange, you can usually find a way to play without Swick. So,
yeah.
but yeah, definitely a high B. That's true. Then we come to the robot again. Remember when we put them in S? They're even better
no.
at defense than they're at attacking. Because with the remote presence thing, so if you take a hit and then they go down, and then you can either choose to lie them down, go unconscious, and then repair them later on, or you have them standing. It's up to you, depending on the situation. And with the... but remember to use the combat form, because then you have a base of 12 instead of 11. But it also gives you higher silhouette, which means that you can see further, which is also good. Or if you have them lying down, which you can do, you can have the tall guy lying down, which is... yeah. It's not a tag, though it kind of looks like one.
Yeah. And they're strong.
Yeah.
And I like them a lot. And you can even play. I haven't seen you do it, but you can even have side bots. So you have a random extra heavy right stopper hiding around somewhere as a sheet corner guard addition.
Yep.
But then you lose the ability to duo them with Okos. So,
I think,
but yeah,
though, that since you don't get the purity bonus for the Oko in O-12. I think it might be viable to use the sidebots for it.
Yeah.
But then you would go with
Yeah,
the 22 pointer. No, the 24 pointer, where you get the paramedics. You'd still keep them very cheap. And then with the sidebot.
Yeah.
But they're really good, especially if you make sure to have an engineer behind them, so you can just get them up again.
Yeah, they're so hard to kill.
Yeah. And since they have the Panzerfaust along with the Fastspot, that means that you have Panzerfaust who can replenish themselves, so they don't run out of long-range ammo unless you have taken 2 gunfights. And if you've taken 2 gunfights with them already, then you can probably lie down or something.
Yeah.
So good unit.
Yeah, very good, very good, very good.
Just make sure, don't try to put them as a deployment zone to deployment zone arrow, because they're not good enough to fight for real, but they're dangerous enough so people have to actually be careful about them.
Yeah, you can't ignore a Panzerfaust. If it's in good range, you can try to ignore it if it's out of good range.
Yep.
That's how you die.
That's how you die. Gangbusters then. These definitely.
Because you don't play the Mind Layer Nightshade.
Oh, sorry. Nightshade then. No, but I don't. There's definitely, like, it's a midfielder, you can use it, but since this to me is a missile, and I'd rather use the Killer Hacker, so I rarely play the Mind Layer, but you could do it like in the same vein. Like, do you want more camo tokens in the midfield? And also, if you're playing a scenario where you don't want to let your opponent kill your specialists, so you want to reduce, then the Minder is definitely good.
Yeah, because I was like, there's the danger of playing the Killer Hacker is that you if you ever get out of camouflage, you can get hacked. So I was like, you either play the Killer Hacker or you play the boarding shotgun or the Mind Layer. Because the boarding shotgun is better than the submachine gun, I think. You lose the drop bear, but you get the mines.
You lose the D charges as well, which means you can't do.
Oh, you lose the T charges. Yeah, that matters. That matters. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's pretty nasty to if you somehow survive your suicide run, you can start throwing drop bears and do the peek around the corner, mine people in the face.
Yep. Oh, it's good. So, no, I think so. But I mean, even with the Nightshade, you could probably use with shock mines anyway, so it's not that big of a. But it's definitely.
Yeah.
But I think as a defensive unit, I wouldn't rely on it as a defense. It's like you mentioned, like you can put the mine layer and you put the mine from the mine layer down and have that as an extra. But paying 32 points and saying like, oh, I'm doing a defensive thing, it's like, nah, that's why you have the Moonrakers.
Yeah, I see it more like I pay a swick to also half a swick to also have a mine. So if I have half a swick over, it's always nice to have an extra mine. It slows people down.
So sure, have it as an extra option for it.
Yeah.
But then for the Gangbuster, this we didn't talk about it as an attack piece, but this one is also super flexible to what you can do with it. So I usually play the killer hacking version. Yeah. Because then you have a midfield specialist. It's a killer hacker, and it's also a mine layer with mad traps, which is a glue boost thingy that runs up and glues people to the ground.
So it's a glue crazy koala. It's really, really good.
And I think this one actually got better with the new you can use 2 command tokens at the start, because you can put this in suppress when you start a game, which means that you have the MSV1, Mimetism -3, infiltrating submachine gun, which also has a mad trap close to it. So I think this is.
Am I remembering it wrong, or didn't these guys have Mimetism -6 before?
No, they didn't. They had 1.
Okay, -3. Yeah.
-3. Yeah. So.
Plus, all the Gangbuster models are really cool.
That is true.
It's everything is like good guys, and then you have the Gangbusters that are like, what? Why did you hire the MC criminals?
They have to infiltrate the gangs. They have infiltration, a special skill.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, they're really cool. But I'm curious. Like I probably put them in high B.
Yeah.
Because it's a really good above the peeler.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and it's MSV2 too, so it
one.
can slow down people. Yeah, MSV1,
Yeah.
so it can slow down smokers and stuff like that. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
They can do a
that's
lot.
cool.
Then we have the Razer. And the Razer has the mine layer monofilament mine. And here is where the trick goes. You can have two Razers with monofilament mines, and then you have one Moonraker. So then you have your 4 camo tokens in the midfield, where 2 of them actually are monofilament mines. And it's gonna ruin someone's day.
Yeah.
Especially
Yeah,
since you
or
have
you
your
just
Razer
put.
close by. So if they walk past and then they trigger the mine, then you can, as a response, also reveal and put another mine down just for like, hee. So then they can choose to
Yeah.
shoot your Razer and take the monofilament mine in the face, or they have to deal with another one, and then another one. Yeah.
Yeah. Or you play, or why not everything? You already have you play with the Moonrakers and with these
Ah, yeah.
guys. And now the enemy knows that some of these are monofilament
Yep.
mines, and they have to solve that problem.
Yep.
It's puckering butt time.
But
Because a monofilament mine is a nasty thing.
oh yeah,
For
yeah.
those who don't know, monofilament is a PS8 save with no armor, and if you fail, you die.
Yep. No,
Bad.
doesn't matter how big you are, you just die. No, it's I think it's really really cool, and I'm not sure how often you will take this, since it's a 31 point for that model.
Yeah.
But it's a boarding shotgun with +1 burst, so it has burst 3 boarding shotgun with on a mimetism -6 model.
Yeah.
And since the reduction in templates, the Razer unit is just so much better.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think it's nice. And I've been talking a long time that I wish that Shasvasti, who have the monofilament mine, that they got mine layer.
yeah.
And when the Razer got it, I was like, whoa, why didn't Shasvasti get it, man? Show Shasvasti some love, dudes.
No. The Razer.
It's a very funny tech. You should, if you play a lot in a group, you should always take it once, just so that one time it destroys someone and they have PTSD for the rest of the time when they see a mine.
Yep. And even worse is if you're playing with someone who likes to bunch their guys up together, and you go first, and you just take your Razer up, pop a mine, and then spot them, and then they have to dodge for their lives while you just continuously drop mines. So it's a cool unit.
Yeah.
No, but
Lastly,
I'd say generally, since if you look at it, you probably want this as a specialist or the mine layer. And it's a shame you can't be both. But I'd say this is it's a fun piece to have as a defensive.
Yeah.
It's like it's mid tier. You pay a bunch of points for it, so you
yeah.
make it.
It's B, but it's a very funny B.
Yep.
It's S in funniness.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
It's B in actual play.
It's gonna end up in the gimmick section for sure.
Yeah. And then we jump to the Varangians, right? Or are you playing Hippolyta as your defense?
No, and Varangian is a corner guard, so I'm just gonna put it. It's an
but it's a very good corner guard. It has dogged, so it will need two hits to go down. Yeah. And you usually play the trench hammer guy, so it can either chain rifle template you, or it can throw a trench hammer at you on 14s. That is double action, so it can actually kill 2 wound models if you're lucky. And in this edition, being able to do 2 wounds in ARO, especially in your deployment zone, is good.
Yep. But yeah, so I'll put it somewhere in mid B, lower mid.
Yeah. I think it's all together. I think it's probably you use this to smoke trick with your Epsilon.
Yeah.
So then you buy it for the smoke, but then you also get a good corner guard for the price too. So I'd say they're pretty. I'd probably claim them as an A for their utility.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and as we talked a bunch, like it's if you take the trench hammer profile, it's 13 points, which is one of the cheaper units that you can take. So you
Yeah,
will probably have one anyway because you need the points. So,
yeah.
but yeah, very good. Cool, cool. That
Then
was
it's
the
specialist time.
defense. Yeah. The only thing that I'm curious about defense-wise is because if we take a look some more in the fire team section,
Yeah,
um,
I was looking at that, seeing if it had any interesting duos.
yeah, and I mean you have the Vrangen. They don't care about the duo in defensive. You had the jackboots, which we talked about before, and I think they can have
You
some.
could throw 1.5 trench hammer in ARO.
Yeah, I mean you two dice your trench hammer. That's always good,
Yeah,
but.
that's
But then
enough.
it's possibly the Psychop, but it's then we're back into it's kind of expensive and it's a one wound model, but it's an
Yeah,
okay. But that's basically it. Like,
yeah. I was like, maybe you could duo Vidocs FTOs. Can the Vidoc FTO have anything?
yeah, you can have the multi sniper, but then you lose the camo, and I'd rather have
Yeah,
the camo rather than have a.
yeah. Every day in
Then
the
it's more
week.
the because if you have the gamma profile, then you can put
Yeah,
the gamma along with two Vidocs. So you have a Vidoc sniper, and you have a Vidoc doctor, and then you have the gamma as a Harris. So
yeah,
you have the sniper as a standing ARO, and during your turn you run with your gamma and kill stuff, and that's a
yeah.
pretty good
You
kill
could
team.
you could also argue that like the Vidoc FTO sniper with linked with another with like the cheapest Vidoc
Yeah,
could be a good IRO clearing piece because it's basically a burst 3 multi sniper that
yeah,
is pretty good at clearing stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's okay, but it's
yeah. It's nothing that I see is outstanding as an ARO with their duos. So
no, no, definitely not. So specialist then.
yes,
Uh,
it's all of them.
yes. But if we look at some of the extreme ones then, and also we're gonna skip the hackers now, so it's gonna be a really slim list.
Yeah,
But then I think it's worth mentioning the links first of all,
yeah,
because the links as a min -6 piece, you can have a specialist operative with plasma carbine, and it also has assault pistols, which means you have burst 4 inside 8.
yeah,
So it's like a I don't know, you starting in deployment zone, but otherwise it's what's her name, the Ariadna one that over infiltrates and kill you,
yeah.
uh, and her name is
You mean
yeah,
Uxia?
exactly.
Yeah,
So it's kind of in
yeah,
in that vein,
yeah.
but I think that's an
I, I
interesting,
I
especially
like
since
it because
hmm?
I like the links because also the assault pistol is zeros up to 16, so it's an okay weapon to fight at up to 16 range also
Yeah,
because burst 4 makes up for a lot.
yeah,
And the plasma carbine, plasma is a great weapon to have. Like
yeah, right.
we talked about, it's good doing 2 wounds in ARO. That's a good weapon to do it with if you have to.
Yeah.
So it's a good having a specialist do their thing. They maybe get caught in the middle of the battlefield. Then I have at least a plasma carbine to surprise someone with when they come around the
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, and also, I mean, every specialist that has a camo state or a marker state is always something to take a look at because you can get out of a situation where your opponent otherwise could pin you down, and this definitely falls into that category. So,
Yeah,
um, then we could also talk a bit about the Lockkeeper, since it's a specialist operative on a bike, which could also be useful,
yeah,
especially if you just take the 18-point one with a boarding shotgun and chain rifle. So you
yeah.
can. It's also. I mean, it's a bike on a specialist on a bike, so it's okay.
Yeah. And I am an Ariadna player mainly, so I love my specialists on bike, and 18 points is a bargain for a good zoom up and push a lot of buttons. Because some missions you have to push a lot of buttons, and if someone null deploys, you just go and push all the
Yeah.
buttons, and then you have the pace of the game.
And then we have Parvati, And she's a pricey one, but as a specialist, she's definitely an A tier. If you can have her, because as you mentioned, it's the same everything. She has super jump, she has a 6/6 move. She's an STR, and she's an engineer. So I think she can engineer herself, right?
Yeah, I think so, because she's rem press and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, rem presence would just mean that if she goes unconscious, she doesn't die.
Mm.
But since she is STR, that means you can heal even though you're still alive, which is not available with Doctor. But she has Doctor 2 wounds, so if you play with any of the 2 wound models, she can get them up on a whip 15,
Yeah.
and she can engineer herself on an 18. So she's like super handy in those kind of situations.
Yeah. She's very flexible.
Yeah. And she also has a deactivator now, so that's also good. So she can just like...
Oh, yeah.
And she's not hackable. And that blows my mind, because she's an SDR.
Yeah.
So she can actually go into those repeater nets and just like, I'm gonna deactivate that repeater.
Yeah.
And she does
or
it...
burst for that repeater if it's within 8.
No. You use the deactivator on 21s, because she has +6 on her whip.
Oh, it's 21.
Yeah, so she has an auto success in just removing it.
Yeah.
So
fuck that particular piece of...
No, she's a good one.
Yeah.
So I think she can be really handy, especially if you struggle with picture networks and everything. You can just go in and boop, boop, and also versus turrets, she just kills them.
Yeah.
She can kill them on 18s on 16 band as well. So I mean, it's I think she's a really cool piece now.
Yeah.
The next one that I wanted to talk about was... I'm gonna skip all the way down to the Raptor. This falls a bit into the hacking category, but this is more from a specialist anyway. We talk because that's why you have the killer hacking. It's not because you want to killer hack, especially.
No.
So, but this is definitely a good one. When you start out with O-12, I'd recommend like try the Raptor and the First Order. Just put it into a Cybermask and then enjoy the show, because it's really easy to play with. You have 3/6 advisors, so you can't be caught out in the open. You have marker state. You have your hacking device. And you can everything. So you can do everything you want with it. So it's a solid.
It's really good.
Yeah. And yeah, those were the 4 like interesting specialists. And as we mentioned, I mean, if we look at them, Cyberghosts are specialists, Kappa can be specialists, Blue Coats can be specialists, Cyclops are specialists, Raven Eyes are specialists. These are always specialists, and these are always specialists. These are always like it's just so many that are always specialists. So you're probably gonna end up with I have my specialist regardless. So.
Yeah, the last one I want to say, but it's a beam at this point. The Roadbot.
Yeah,
it's incredibly fast and versatile specialist.
Yeah,
bring it.
It's a good shit. The only problem I have with it is you can't since it's a remote, you can't pull civilians with it.
Oh, they don't trust the robot.
No, it's so weird. It's like, I'm driving a bike up to you. Do you want to ride it? Then like, no, you're not trustworthy. What do you mean? It's a bike right here. How can I trust this? It's just a remote. Like,
they're like, you guys haven't seen Transformers?
Yeah.
We're the trustworthy ones.
Silliness.
Yeah. But so on to hacking.
Hacking, yes.
My big question: are there pictures in this faction?
Yes, Cyberghost. Pictures.
Cyberghost. That makes Cyberghosts pretty good.
Cyberghosts are they're so good.
They're BS. Okay, you can do them. All is forgiven.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, they're BS11. That's not a funny shot.
Yeah.
But if you can get 2 shots, that's pretty good.
Yeah, you can get 2 shots with them, and I mean, if you, regardless of the picture, I mean, we can focus on the picture first. Like, you have it on BS11, you can duo them, and then all the profiles are pictures. So then you will have 4 pictures in total. But they are Ava too, so then you would have both of them there, and that's where they are. But besides that, these are Whip 14 BTS 6 hackers with stealth. so you can sneak past repeater networks. And if you want to duel someone, you're doing it on WIP 14 with BTS 6, so it's like they're just good. And like this is what.
And the hacker one comes with Hacking Device Plus too.
Yes, it's not a normal hacker.
Yes. That's very good.
Yeah,
very good.
To me, it's like when people talk about the Berid in Hackistan being like a super good hacker, and it is. This to me is like this is a slightly priced up version of it, but you only pay for stuff that you want.
Yeah.
So
they're great. They're great. And it's always good to be cheap, but these guys are still cheap because it's 18 to 21 points. So they're good. They're good. Play them.
Yep. The next ones are the Kappa. They got more expensive in N5. It's so funny when you look at some and like generally everything goes down in price, and then the line troopers go up. I'm like, what happened?
They were 12 points, right?
There were 12-point WIP 13 hackers. If we talked about you have Swick left, you would just add Kappa hackers until you didn't have Swick left.
Yeah,
and it's almost the same now. It's 13 points instead of 12. It's still worth it. Just like since you need cheerleaders anyway, and just add them. It's not uncommon that I have 2 Kappa hackers and a Cyber Ghost as my hacking. So it's a total of 3 models. Because it's cheap, so they're good. So I'll put them in a solid B. Maybe I'll put them in a B tier. It's a solid hacker.
You put the Cyber Ghosts in A, or did you put them in S?
No, I don't put them in S. I don't think O-12 has any hackers that's gonna go into an S. Not for their hacking perspective.
No.
The Nightshade is an S.
Like if you had better hackers, the Cyber Ghosts might have gone up to S, because then they get more viable the harder hacking you have. Because then the pictures get more interesting.
But no, the Cyber Ghosts are the toughest hackers. So. The Lynx also has a hacking profile. I don't see why you would put 30 points into a hacker and getting like -6 and stuff, which is unnecessary.
There is a point in having a surprise attack. That's nice with the combo. You get Trinity on 17s and they get -3, and if it's true a repeater, they get -6. That's always sweet, but 30 points is rough.
Yeah, it's very, very, very much. So as a hacking, I'd put them in C tier. Then we have the Ment agents, and they have a 20-point hacking profile. So you can pay 6 extra points to get hacking, and you change your riot stopper to a light shotgun.
And you're still chain of command.
No, you're always chain of command.
Yeah, you're still chain of command.
Yeah. Sorry.
So
it's to me they are too expensive. Since they're usually like one of the cheerleader models, and to pay extra, then I'd rather just add a new Kappa.
Yeah, I'm like, if you have filled your slots and you need a chain of command, and you have those 6 points over, why not also make it? But it's bad to have your chain of command being hackable. So no. Forget what I said.
Yeah, because that's the part where I like, and then you Trinity to death, and like, okay.
Yeah. And then you have Catherine Show, who's chain of command, so it jumps to her.
It's gonna be an entire. It's a show. Then we have Team Sirius. They're interesting.
No. Before that, I want to mention Cyclops.
Yeah, sure. True, they're also
because they have a very interesting thing. Yeah. They have combat instinct, which means you ignore stealth.
Oh, I haven't even thought about that.
No, I was reading it because I was like, oh, you want 6th Sense hackers, and then I saw combat instinct ignores stealth too, and I was like, oh. So now I searched it, and I was like, there is one hacker that has combat instinct and has stealth. So if you want those hacking nets not to be ignored by stealth, you should pop in a Cyclops hacker.
And they have BTS 6 as well.
Yeah,
So they, comparatively to the Cyber Ghost, I mean, they're more expensive because you're paying for. If you take the killer hacking, you will have Disco Baller and Nanopulsars and stuff. So
yeah.
uh,
But that's also a good thing because then you can spit out disco balls when
yeah,
you need that. So, and you talked about using them because they could duo, so you could duo that with another psychop to do psychop things with the other guy, and you also have a hacker that does
yeah, because then you
things.
can do it with the one that puts armed turrets as well. So you,
Yeah,
Jesus, that duo has everything. So okay, I have my killer hacker, I have Disco Baller, I have Combat Instinct, X-Fires, Mimetism, MSV, templates, I have turrets, and
yeah. The only thing is you might want the regular hacker because you might want to hack HI and stuff like that to sneak past,
yeah,
and the killer hacker can't do shit against those
yeah,
guys.
yeah, and especially when I think that's a fair point when you're doing a duo. If you have a hacker in it, because whenever you do a move, if you have a repeater, you can just like I do a hack, unless you
Yeah,
need to use all of the movement points to do a move.
yeah,
So if you change in position, you can just do a free hack while you're at it.
yeah.
But
But it's also a weakness because they can get to it. But yeah,
there we go.
but it's worth knowing that it's there with combat instinct.
Yep.
It makes your hacking not much safer.
That's cool. I wonder if I should put in
It,
high B or low A.
low A, I would
Yeah,
say, because they have BTS 6, and that's very strong
yeah.
on a hacker.
It's just the points cost I'm thinking of, which is kind of high.
Yeah, yeah,
But ending in the similar. Now let's go to the team series.
yeah. No, no.
And this one, as a tech piece, is interesting because they have forward deployment and their series bots are repeaters, which means you can start with a turn zero repeater network,
Yeah,
which is very, very good. And if you compare it to normal repeaters, you can't use deactivators, you just turn them off.
yeah. And they have the funny thing that you can have a serious hacker with a serious bot.
Yep.
So you move the serious bot into hacking range, and your hacker goes outside of hacking range, and you go, "What you gonna do? You wanna hack my bot while I blow your brains out?" And yeah,
Yep.
this happened to me on my last Helcon. It was sad for me.
No, I really like them. They're a bit pricey though, since it's a
Yeah,
single wound model. They're sure they have mimetism, but they have no marker states or anything.
yeah.
So
They're really good first turn for you.
yeah,
Really bad if you're going second.
yeah. But generally, I mean, it's depending on like how you pivot your list. But if you go for like having Cyber Ghost and Psychops and like more of the hacking, then I'd recommend to have at least one of them,
Yeah,
because they will zone off. And depending on how you want to do it, you could use the hacker and the serious bot, and you put them 8 inches away from each other. That way, they will have an 8 inches and 8 inch range will cover 24 inches of the midfield with
yeah,
with a hackable area.
yeah,
The only reason I wouldn't do that is then your opponent can go and killer hack your hacker, and none of your hacker friends can help.
yeah.
So
And then your serious bot stops working because it's disconnected.
exactly. So you,
But what you can do, like if you go second, then you just put the serious bot a bit forward and you hide the hacker,
yeah,
so it's safe. So you just have a deployable repeater a bit up.
yeah. That's no, but they're good.
But yeah,
They're,
it's a good tech to have.
yeah.
Uh,
So I'll add them in the upper B tier as a good thing to have.
yeah,
Then let's see. Then we have the Delta, one of the droppers. We didn't mention them during the specialist, but since they're combat jumping specialist, that falls in. The only thing that I forgot is the doctor has the possibility to have a Yudbot, so you can drop the Yudbot and like blow up mines or stuff while the
yeah,
doctor does what it needs to do. So that's also a good thing to keep in mind if you struggle with mines.
yeah,
Then you can bring a Delta Doctor with the Yudbot.
yeah,
But as a hacker, this one falls into one of those classified categories because you can take a killer hacker with D charges, which means that you have a veteran troop. It's a medium infantry. It's a hacker and has D charges. I think I can solve like 14 of the classifieds.
you want the regular hacker so you can do the spotlight hacking stuff too, right?
Yeah, but then you lose the
But
D
then you lose the
charges.
D-charge.
So
Yeah.
so it's either
But I
or.
think you cover more hacking. Yeah,
No,
if you yeah.
it's only one that requires spotlight. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, it's only one.
Yeah,
Okay, I thought it was
the
two.
other ones are.
Uh,
It feels like a spotlight, but it just says your hacker needs to see them and do a whip check,
okay.
but it doesn't say
Okay.
spotlight.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. But it's good. The only thing I'm a little scared of having a BTS 0 whip 13 hacker jump on the board.
Yeah.
That's he's very blow upable.
Yeah. Yeah. The only like thing that you can have as a up is since it's a combo jumper, you're gonna choose your fights.
Yeah.
So and if it dies, it dies. It's what it
Yeah.
is.
But it's a bunch of points that could walk into. You could misjudge a range and then be very sad.
Yeah. But I'd say that that's a really good piece, especially if you struggle with classified missions, since you can drop
Yeah.
it where you need it, and you can do the mission, and then you can continue playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I say it's good.
The next one then is the Raptor. We talked about it, so I'll just put it up into an A tier. This is a strong. It's a killer hacker. It can do a bunch of stuff. So
Yeah, it has 2 wounds. It has BTS 3.
yeah.
So.
Then when we come to remotes, there are no more hackers in the remote sections, but just like Fuzzbots and Kytte, both of them are repeaters. And the peeler is no, not the peeler. The
The Oko is a repeater.
Yeah. So all of those 3 are repeaters. And the thing that I mentioned about that, and this will be true for all sectorials, the Kytte is a 6/6 move. So it's really, really quick if you want to move repeaters. So just remember this one. And the Oko, you can take the tactical awareness that you mentioned before, Ville.
Yeah.
So having tactical awareness, you just have a free order to move it up. You pay 3 points for the order, of course, but then you move it up. You can use the sensor. You have deactivators, you repeater. It's a good.
3 points is very cheap for an order that you want to use because the Oko is, like you say, it's a specialist, it's a repeater, it's a sensor, it can triangulated fire, so it can deal with MIM -6 guys. Cause
it's a cool thing.
Yeah.
So
and it's and we can mention you will probably want to have a Fuzzbot Evo hacker because it helps you with speedball, it helps you with your combat jumpers, it has baggage, so it reloads all your Panzerfausts on your roadbots, and it reloads pictures, and it gives fairy dust to your Hoi hacker, the Raptor. It can do a lot of stuff. 40 points is cheap if you can get it in. Usually have it because it also messes with your enemy's speedball and so on. I think it's really good.
It's a cool one.
They got better this edition too.
Oh yeah, with the automatic reloading is so good.
And messing with speedball is very good since it's free. As soon as they call in speedball, you go, thank you. Or maybe you can. I'm not sure. I have to check that up. Because it's an ARO, so you can't ARO on a speedball probably.
Exactly. I don't think you can.
No. But if you activate it before,
you just control flight on your first turn. It's like, okay. Now we're down to the cool guys again. So we have the Nightshades, and as a hacker, it's okay-ish. I mean, it's a killer hacker, and you can, since you're hidden deploy and go with the surprise attack versus the target you want to fight. But it's a BTS 0 VIP 13 hacker, so you probably don't want to use it as a hacker. So
no, but it also has stealth and camouflage, so it very much gets to pick its fights. It can super jump past those repeater nets, get in the backline and kill hackers one at a time.
It's a good one. Then we have the gangbusters again, and we talked about the killer hacker one as a defense because it had mine layer, and since you have all of those, you have the mine layer with the mad trap. You can also put in suppress it as MSV1 and min -3, and it's a killer hacker, so it covers like all of the thing. Usually, the way that you can like take it out, it covers its own bases, so to speak. Like you can't smoke it,
Yeah.
you can't like try to spotlight and then kill it without actually having a repeater network, and you can try to Trinity back or something. So it's
Yeah.
I think it's a
Yeah, I'm not sure if I would play the killer hacker if I'm not sure I want that specialist, but because it is also a weakness that it can be pictured and murdered that way.
but if you take the
but-
mine layer one, it's the cheapest mine layer. So if you remove the specialist, it becomes more expensive.
Yeah.
So
But the other one gains a riot stopper. It's pretty sweet.
yeah.
Yep. I see the function in both, but it can be a weakness to be a killer hacker in the midfield.
No, for sure.
Uh,
Then we have the Razer, and it has a hacking device with upgrade Trinity.
Oh, that's sweet.
And it's a WIP 13 BTS3, so it's okay-ish stat-wise.
Yeah.
So I think it's a cool thing you can have. Like if you want that, as I've mentioned before, like it has decharges and it's a hacker, so you can do a lot of classifieds.
Yeah.
So it's a good one.
But it's still it's a 34.1 wound BTS3, so it can also fail spectacular.
Oh yes, so very much so. And that was the last hacker. So we have the Cyberghost, Psychop, and Raptor as the A tier, and then we have a bunch of B tiers, and then the Lynx and the Ement Agents as C tier.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. Yeah. It's O-12 is not known for their superior hacking, so but their O-12 is not. O-12 is very good at most things. It's a classic jack of all trades. Yeah. It's not the best in everything, but it has toolboxness.
It's the best when it comes to having specialists.
Yeah. This is true. It is the worst at firefight.
Yes, that's a tough one.
Yes, so, then it's Lieutenant, right?
Yep, that it is.
And the first and best.
Alpha is so good.
Yeah. It's everything you want in a lieutenant,
yep.
Except for being size 4 then. But
yep.
But it's good. It's lieutenant plus 1 command token and strategos level 1, so the lieutenant order becomes a regular order. It's got counterintelligence, so you can only strip 1 order from them. Yeah, and it's
it actually got better in N5 with the reduction of templates, since it still has a template. Yeah. And it also has guard, so if you come inside 8 inches and want to gunfight with it, it'll punch you in the face. And if you try to punch them in the face because they they have guard, then they shoot you in the face instead. So
it's the only drawbacks is its size, and it's very obvious that it's a lieutenant.
Oh yeah.
But it's not so much of a problem when you have 14 points chain of command in your list. Yeah. So it's I'd say it's S. Prob.
Yeah, you're right. I put it in A for discussion, but yeah, it's definitely an S. It's I mean,
like I'm Ariadna. I want everything to be in camo, so that's the thing. But
my S4 camo token. I don't know what you're talking about. It's just me and my pet robot standing over here. Don't mind me.
Yeah, but it's very good.
Yeah.
And as you said, it's got toolboxness with guard and martial arts. And yes, and then we can talk about
the blue coat.
The blue coat, is that interesting?
It has a lieutenant profile. It costs 16 points, and it's I mean, for a lieutenant profile, it's kind of okay, because if you try to get close to it, it has heavy riot stopper, cobra pistol, and para CC weapon -6 with natural born warrior and CC 20. So it's you won't just kill it with anything.
It's the thing I hate most in the game, the cobra pistol. Why remove the cool gunfighting and then put in a gun that gunfights?
Because it's cool.
Either commit to the coolness or
No, you're so right. It's No, I, I,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think this is a B or C. I'd never play it. It's a C, especially when you have the alpha. It's like, okay, so I
yeah,
can pay 8 more points for a model that is just so much better. Like, yeah, okay, I'll pay 8
yeah,
points for it. So
yeah. Or we can get to one of my favorites. If you absolutely don't want to play the alpha, I really, really like uh, Ensign Catherine Show Psi
you
unit.
know what? I do now. She was worthless in N4. Well,
Okay.
not worthless, but her problem is she was the only Whip 14 lieutenant profile you can have
Oh,
except the alpha. But that is not true anymore because the Omega also has Whip 14. So you have
oh, cool.
another
And it
model
has it,
that can have
and it
lieutenant.
has it on the gun that it wants.
That's a
No,
multi-rifle tail mod firewall -3, unfortunately. But
okay. So if you have that duo that you like, then you can.
yes, then you can fake that I have my lieutenant in here, and your opponent's gonna be okay. That's your gun platform, and it's your lieutenant over there. I'm just gonna go kill it, and it's like nothing happens. And I'm like, what?
I still disagree with you that she was bad in four because having a holobust lieutenant is good.
Yeah, it's good, but it's just like I don't know. But for me, whenever I use Holomask, I want to actually trick my opponent with I might have everything that I have on my board, but as soon as you place her down and you roll your whip 14, and it's like okay, so you have 3 options. It's either the alpha, you have Cho, or you have the Omega. And then you drop down all your things, and like okay, so you don't have the alpha, and you don't have an Omega, so it's Cho. Okay, so all the S2 profiles. Then we look at like, okay, you have a Raven Eye over there with a mine, so it's not the Raven Eye, and you go through everything, and it's I don't know, it's something about it I don't like. I want it to be hidden as long as possible.
Yeah,
So
I like it,
yeah,
and both of her options are good
yeah,
because it's like holomask is just good because yeah, if you have 100% played a lot of O-12, then you can go like, oh, I can guess it's not that, it's not that, it's not
yeah.
that. But for most players, they're like, huh? What the fuck are you talking about? Because I played the Hafsas a lot,
Hmm?
and people are like, where the fuck is the thing? One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah.
Have fun. Is this a guy with a flamer or is it my lieutenant? Oh, it was a guy with a flamer. Too bad for
Whoop,
you.
whoop, whoop. No, that's true.
So I think it's good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think he's
and she's 15 points. So if you're playing some
yeah,
weird thing and you really don't have the points for the alpha, she's a good
yeah.
choice.
Then we have Kappa Lieutenant. They cost 1 Swick. I'm gonna put them
Uh,
in D.
that's C.
I'll put them in D. Why would
Yeah.
you ever do this to yourself? It's
For those 3 points that you couldn't put on
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 Catherine.
shore. Yeah, exactly. I needed a war core. It's so good. Like no, no. And also the Swick that you're not using because you don't want Kappa hackers instead. No,
Yeah,
just
yeah.
don't.
No, no.
Then we have the Raven Eye. This is actually
Yeah,
one of those lieutenants that I played with quite a lot.
yeah.
I think it's a strong B tier. Since it's a 12-point lieutenant, no Swick, it could easily be another model as your lieutenant, but probably not because.
Yeah, and you always play with a Raven Eye,
Yeah,
so it's like, is the Raven Eye your lieutenant this time,
yeah.
or is it not?
The only problem is like if we compare it to the other lieutenant choices, we end up in
Yeah,
the same gist again. Like, okay, I'm probably not gonna play the Kappa lieutenant. I'm not gonna play the blue coat lieutenant. I'm not gonna play etc. etc. And we end up in like, okay, so it's the Raven Eye, but it's
yeah.
if you can do the deduction.
But my feeling is also that I've given up on hunting O-12 lieutenants because there's always a fucking show or there's a ment
Oh yeah, yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
some bullshit.
You have to do
So
it
it's like,
twice or 3 times. That's true.
yeah. So it's like you playing Fidays versus this is the worst feeling in the world. Unless you can template like 6 model at once, then then you have a pretty good chance of actually getting the lieutenant.
I killed half your army. I got 1 lieutenant. Woohoo!
Whoop, whoop.
The next one is
Yeah.
Sonya. She has a +1 SWIC lieutenant profile. I'm with all the discussion we had about O-12 being able to spend all of their SWIC if they want to go that route.
Yeah.
This might have leverage.
Yeah, but because like everything has leverage because you have 14-point chain of command, so you can live crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
and
you
also,
can
since
even
she's a whip 13, you can have the Raven Eye with the same loadout, so it looks like the lieutenant, and people are gonna go, you never put in Sonya as a lieutenant, and then you have a hidden deploy something which takes you up to 7 SWIC, and you're like, how can you afford all of these guns? And like,
and they're like, oh, it's Sonya, we kill her, and then you're like, yeah, she's dead.
Yeah.
I'm not in loss.
I'm going on.
I'm happy.
Yeah. No, I think she's some kind of a B. I need to play her.
Yeah.
I need to try to build a list around her. Before
I say she's weird. She needs range. So I think she can never climb out of B.
No.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. And the next is the Gamma.
Yeah.
And this one I think might be really good since it's a warhorse heavy infantry.
Yeah. And since it's a free order on something that you want to use your order on, like it's basically having NCO on the Gamma.
The only downside, or like why you don't really need it, is there is so much NCO in O-12. I mean, you're probably going to play the Vidok, which has NCO. We talked about the Raptor, who has NCO. Now we talked about not using the Zeta profile with NCO, but there is one for the Zeta as well. So there are so many options, but it's still having it on your prime gun piece.
But they don't get worse because the Gamma has lieutenant.
No.
They can still use the Gamma's order, so it's just cake on cake.
Yeah, just more options. So.
Yeah. No, I think it's really solid. I'd put it in A or something.
Yeah, I'll put it in lower A. I think it's less than Cho, but I still think it's a viable piece to go.
It's like if you want to play the Gamma, I would play the lieutenant Gamma.
Yeah. Then we have the Omega, the Whip 14 lieutenant, the third one.
If the HMG had the lieutenant profile, I'd be so in.
Yeah, I think this is a lower B, possibly C.
Yeah. I don't think you ever do that.
No, I mean it's a hackable lieutenant. Even though you have the firewall -3, it's still like it's a hackable lieutenant. I don't want that in my in my background.
And it's like the only time you would have this profile is if you have this profile, and we talked about how that's 89 points. No, 79 points.
Yeah, it's my difference.
For a gimmicky thing.
Yeah. Then we have the Rovers. Then they have a similar, like it's a 28 points, so it's cheaper than the Omega, but it's a multi-rifle light riot stopper, and it's not with a tin bot or anything. So it's like
never.
It's
never ever.
Don't go there. It's
DDD.
Yeah. And then we have the Zeta. And the Zeta and the lieutenant profile. This is probably an A or a B. I think it's a high B.
Yeah, high B, I would say.
Like if you're doing the Zeta, you're probably going to go with the lieutenant.
Yeah, you want an extra order on your Zeta. It's cheaper than paying for the NCU.
Yeah.
Why not save 3 points and buy that war core?
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, you're gonna take the main agent anyway. Because if your discussion was, but the main agent is 15 points. Well, you just saved 3 points, so it's 12 points. So it's basically having a kappa. Like, okay, never mind then.
Actually, the cheapest ment is 14.
Oh,
so it's an 11-point menta.
That's super cheap.
Basically gaining orders at this point.
Speaking of the ment, I'm gonna put that one in S tier. It's
so
good.
Jesus Christ.
Having the fact that they added a 14-point version as an FTO, because the heavy riot stopper had a +2 burst and they added a +1 burst, and it doesn't even make sense anymore because you don't get template plus burst from being in a fire team. So, what?
But if you pay 1 more point, you get to fan 3 10-inch.
All the glue in the world. No, but it's such a good, especially like 14 points is cheap enough to be a cheerleader. It also serves a purpose. You put your lieutenants in different corners, and you're happy with your life.
The thing I'd say about the 14-point note, what the fuck?
What?
Why does the 14 pointer have a assault pistol? Jesus
Because
Christ.
it doesn't have a proper light shotgun, so it needs something to shoot and kill from.
The light shotgun did not get this. Okay. I I would play the assault pistol.
Yeah, yeah.
So, do you play the Alpha Chain of Command a lot?
That would be you put the Omega down as the lieutenant with 40 whip, and then you have the chain of command Alpha. So even if they kill the Omega, it doesn't matter because you have the Alpha.
Yeah, but when you did that, you lost one command token as Strategos level.
Yes.
Like, why is this? Why is this profile? Remove it. This is a trap for
Oh
beginners.
yeah, yeah. No, it's so strange.
Because you can't even fake it. You could be like, "Oh, this is my alpha. Would you want to kill it?" And you're like, "No, because you don't have Strategos." Oh, right, right.
That's true.
That's open information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck.
And Lieutenant plus one command token is kind of obvious as well. Like, oh,
Yeah.
did you get the extra command token? No. Okay. Thank
I
you.
spent it.
Yeah.
I put 3 things in suppressive. You can't do that, by the way.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, then it's gimmicky stuff.
Yes. So what do you define as the big gimmicks in? Why we just go ham? Take something that you think is.
I don't. This is the least gimmicky of the O-12, I think.
Yeah.
When I think gimmicky, I think those your Starmada list with Andromeda and what's his name, Pretty Boy.
Casanova.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I don't know, gimmicky stuff. I think Parvati might be a gimmicky thing. You could do very much super jump, right?
Yeah.
It's a very bouncy gang.
I mean, sure, you can have the jackboots, you can have her, you can have the Nightshade, you can hit Hippolyta, this one.
Super jump. You have Parvati, Crushers, Cuervo, Delta,
right.
Nimrod, Nightshade.
Right, I forgot all the droppers. Yeah, no, but
Yeah. I think gimmicky in this is you can have like I remember your didn't you play with like 3 droppers?
4.
4 droppers. Yeah, that's pretty gimmicky, I would say.
Yeah, there's a lot of good options. I mean, since you have the Crushers, which are really good, I'll put them, disregard the things, we just add them as different versions. We have the Parvati with all her skills, we have the dropper things, that is definitely something. Since you both have the Delta, which has a bunch of AVA, the Crushers are a bunch, and Cuervo is good, so it's like, yeah, I have so many options there. I think the monofilament mine, it has to be mentioned as a gimmick because it's it's definitely a thing.
Yeah, and I'd probably say the Nightshade is very gimmicky, like good gimmicky.
Yeah. Because it's a thing that you need to be aware about when you face O-12.
Yeah. It'll fuck you up.
Yeah, but otherwise I agree. There's not like, I mean, their gimmick is specialist, and it's hard to.
And the roadblock is gimmicky, like the ram press.
That's
no one in cap thing is a gimmick.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing.
But yeah, we've talked about all these things. I don't think there's any super clear gimmicky thing in the vanilla O-12 other than those.
No, not
those things.
Not yet that I know about, but it's probably gonna be something.
So, did we survive our first episode?
I don't know.
Just a little technical difficulties.
We have a 2.5 hour recording now, so.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad I'm not editing.
We're gonna see how much editing is gonna be. I'm gonna cut out the part where my internet failed me, but.
You're gonna cut out all the times I speak.
Yes.
And when you disregard. It's just a black box over my mouth that says censored.
Just remove your audio. So just me sitting there, okay, no, and then I say stuff and repeat your stuff, and then people, he's a clever one, that one.
When I speak, it just plays the Snoopy grown up talk. Yeah. So if you stayed this long and listened to us survive our first episode, thank you. I hope you enjoyed what we did, and we will do more. Have a great evening.
Yeah, see ya. Bye bye.